For the first time in the history of NASCAR Racing 2003 season, we are racing on the beaches of San Diego. More importantly, we're racing on the Naval Base of San Diego. Hi, hello, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series, part of your all-season coverage of the Fast Racing League here on the North American Sim Racing Network, live from Naval Base Coronado. It's Mission San Diego here in San Diego, California. Pleasant good evening, everybody tuning in to tonight's live coverage of the first ever race in NR2003 at this brand new track here on the beaches of San Diego and live on the NESRN. My name is Trey Ray, joined alongside by Rich Roy. And Rich, there is nothing quite like coming to a track for the first time. 16 corners, technically 17 if you include 12A and 12B as different corners, which they kind of are. But after a wild Cup Series race earlier today, just ending a little bit ago with Corey Heim getting his first career NASCAR Cup Series win, we come here for the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series, and we have honestly no idea what to expect except chaos.
On top of that, it's a street circuit, and well, as famous F1 driver Julian Palmer has said, you have to be alert on the street circuit. So on top of that, plus how slick this track has been, as we've seen a lot of single car spins throughout the practices so far, the key for today, is just keeping a level head, which may be easier said than done.
It definitely is, and right now we've got 12 people in the Surfer so far. We see the 7 of Tyler Stallhood rumbling around there in that ColemanCars.com number 7 machine. There's RJ Bishop in the 99. As he goes around turn number, the chicane, which surprisingly is not numbered on the course of the chicane right between turns 15 and 16, but this course is long, 3.4 miles. Took the Cup Series about, 4 hours just now to complete that race?
Race started at 4 Eastern, ended at like 8:30 Eastern, yeah, something like that.
So about 4.5 hours to complete a 75-lap race earlier today. Fortunately, we're not going 75 laps. I think for both your time constraints and my time constraints, we're not going 75 laps here tonight, but we'll be going 30 laps. The stage is broken up directly into thirds here in Coronado, but 16 corners and almost no banking. It is a flat track here in Navy Base Speedway. You take a look at the course, just all 16 corners, everything is just so different and technical about this track. And there's no corner that is exactly alike. It's a little bit like a very schizophrenic version of Pocono, if you will, where you try and set up your car for one part of the course. You're going to be completely hackneyed on the other side of the course, and it's just going to be a mess here tonight in terms of drivers just trying to figure everything out. But, Rich, it's going to make for such a great broadcast here tonight.
Absolutely. The biggest thing for these drivers is, as I mentioned earlier, just keeping a level ahead. Street circuits are unlike anything else compared to, say, your standard road courses like Watkins Glen or Sonoma. Very abrasive, so your tires are going to go through the roof. So it's another factor in to trying to keep the car underneath of you, because it's kind of hard to keep a car underneath of you when your tires are shot after a few laps. And of course, I just watched Dunn almost spin it in turn 1. This track is slick, so I think what Steve Letarte said during the Cup race, you don't want to be pushing 100%, you want to be pushing like 80, and then when you really want to push it, you actually only want to be going 90%, because if you try to go fully 100%, you're going to end up in a barrier, which is very easy to do here.
Yeah, we saw that earlier today, especially right before the end of Stage 2, where the biggest two drivers, Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilic, they got taken out earlier on. But you mentioned just how slick this track is, particularly in the back end of the course, where it's mostly concrete, where these cars, they're driving directly on the flight line here at Coronado. Most of the track, however, up until about turn 8, is asphalt. You see the 74 of Drew Fast. Right now, he's going through turn 5, the wide sweeping corner through Carrier Corner. As he goes past the USS Carl Vinson Jr. up this long straightaway, this corridor, up until you get to turn number 6 in the Red Bull corner, a heavy braking zone, and a switchback between turns 6 and 7. And up until you get onto the flight line, where we see a lot of F-18s. There's Dunlop. He's going through the flight line right through the Coronado chicane, heading towards turns 12A and 12B up until you get to Runway Road, which is the other fastest part of the course. But I haven't seen him out on track yet, but we do have 2 people that we have to thank directly for the creation of this course. Randall Coleman, definitely one of the people. Of course, Area 23 track designs. We've been talking about it over the last month or so, just how hard that these guys have been working to at least get a beta version out. This isn't the complete version of this course, but it is a raceable version. Of course, you know, you look at the broadcast today, all the buildings that are out on track, you know, obviously they're not going to recreate them in the span of maybe a month or so, you know, once the finalized version of the course was released. But a big credit to Randall Coleman, and once we see him out on track, a huge credit to Tate Dorsey and what he and his guys have been able to build here. Randall sliding the car through turn 13, right in the entire back end there, out and away. But this is such a fun course, and as somebody that has spent the better half of the last 3 or 4 hours, you know, meticulously creating the realistic camera file for this race in comparison to the real ones that Prime, Fox, and the CW were able to put together earlier today, this is a very fun course with a lot of character, Rich.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, each corner is a bit different, as Randall just got air coming down into turn number 2, and I think entering turn 3, or yeah, coming up here in turn 3, we're focusing on Randall. There's another place that the car will get air. So character, a lot of things you usually don't see in a stock car. I don't think there's any purpose-built jumps in any permanent facility that stock cars are supposed to go to. And if these are purpose-built or not, that's a story for a different time. But yeah, very difficult. Each corner is different, so my advice for some of these drivers would be focus on one part of the track and try to deal with the other part, mainly with the concrete, just because it's easier to lose the car on the concrete. But this is going to be a fun race. There's strategies going to be strategy will be everywhere. Drivers are on the edge, and of course we have the best to do it. As we got Jack Merkel, Dunlop, several other drivers, Randall, Tyler, drivers who dominate other series, all in one arena tonight.
We definitely do. We've also got a couple of newcomers here we're talking about. We just saw Blake Warren go around going through the turn 13 chicane. We also got Corbin Wentz and Corey Stallhood making their debuts here tonight. Corbin is going to be debuting that Ziaflex. I'm horribly mispronouncing the sponsor of that. I apologize. But he's going to be running that same scheme later on this week on Wednesday night here for the Fuel Racing League when they go to the Bent Twig Raceway. Just about as crazy as Navy Base Coronado. There is some purpose-built jumps on that track. I know Richie will be in the booth for that. But Corbin, he's going to be debuting that scheme at that track on Wednesday night. A couple of crazy races here all across the NASRN board. And then Corey Stallhood, brother of Tyler Stallhood. We've seen him a couple of different times out on track, as he's going to be making his Fast Racing League debut in the G Fuel number 45. How about we saw that for a split second? Drew Fast getting a ton of air, going down tow-way in that stretch between turns 1 and 2, and completely overcooking it in turn 2. We're going to be seeing a lot of drivers really just battling the elements of this track. It really is a race of attrition, like you said, because you have no idea what to expect. You know, all these guys, like you said, you've got Jack Merkel, you've got Dunlop, who we watched win the tournament, or the whatever it's called. Trying to think, words are a little bit hard, but Dunlop, he won the Fuel Sportsman Series championship earlier on today on that tape delayed broadcast. Dun's really good at the road courses. Jack Merkel's really good at the road courses, and we honestly have no idea what to expect. But we do have some qualifying. We've got about 7 minutes of qualifying here, so we've got plenty of time to try and take you for a little bit around the track if we can. And we'll go ahead and do so. We'll do the same thing that iRacing did a little bit ago. We're going to start at the start-finish line. Looks like we're actually going to go ahead and roll back the server. So it looks like we'll go ahead and restart the server, and we'll go ahead and get things resituated. And once we get things resituated, we should be good to go. Joshua Mercurio in the 98 machine, another driver making his season debut, if I'm not mistaken, here this afternoon. But now that we do have all that situated, we've got 7 minutes of qualifying going on the board. We're going to take you for a lap around Navy Base Coronado. You can see the Carl Vinson all the way in the background out of turn number 3. But turn number 1, this was a very big trouble spot we saw, especially in the Cup race and in the no-apps race yesterday, where if you get aggressive right off of a double file restart, you can easily wash up the track. And fortunately, or unfortunately for these drivers, it depends on how you look at it. This is solid concrete. There's no give in the corner. Fortunately, it is a video game, but ultimately, that's going to be a big trouble spot. Down the way they go, down towway, this big hill of elevation. We saw the Cup cars getting air. We might see some cars literally fly into turn number 2 here tonight, Rich. You turn on to Rogers Road in turn number 2, a hard, heavy right-hander, heavy braking zone, and down this stretch towards 2nd Street in turn number 3, and you can see the Carl Vinson Jr. off in the distance through turn number 3, and a wide sweeping set of corners between turns 4 and 6 where you are letting on and off the gas pretty much the entire way. This is quite a section here in the final little stretch of asphalt.
Yeah, very demanding part, and in 6 and 7 is a quick right-left flick, entering then 8 and 9, which is you have to get the car down to slow really quickly before another chicane left-right flick.
Still going here, we just got out of Carrier Corner in turn 5 and down this long straightaway approaching that 6 and 7 switchback like we were talking about. Another heavy braking zone. Shifting and battling through the gears is going to be a very important part. We know some drivers have ran into some RNG issues as we go through turns 6 and 7 in this little mini straightaway, transitioning onto the flight line here at Navy Base Coronado. And just taking care of your equipment is going to be paramount above all else here if you want to survive 30 laps here at Navy Base Coronado. Onto the flight line we go, heading towards the Coronado chicane of turns 8 and 9. And into this, like you were talking about, this left-right section all the way down the flight line. Turns 12A and B are going to be 2 of the biggest trouble spots that we see, especially on this makeshift back straightaway as we go through turns 10 and 11 underneath the Pala Casino Bridge. And into turn 12B, a little bit of a corkscrew, heading down a runway road towards turn 13. You're going to be partially getting a little bit off the gas in turn 13, tapping the brake just to make sure you can get around this long sweeping corner. Setting yourself up for turn 14 and 15, a very slick section of the course. You're off the flight line, heading towards the Arby's chicane, where it's the one last coup de grace of just challengingness on this track, Rich. We have no idea what we're going to expect, especially going through this heavy asphalt chicane and off towards turn number 16 to complete a full lap here at Navy Base Speedway.
Well, I can tell you what to expect. I hope you like endurance racing, because that's what's going to be. You got to keep care of the car, keep care of the equipment. I'm going to expect at least half the field is going to have some sort of gearbox issues, just because of how much gearing you're going through. 3.4 miles, 30 laps. That's a lot of gear changes.
It definitely is a lot, and especially, again, 16 corners, all of them different. I mean, the first 3 gears are going to be just absolutely abused, especially when it comes to the downshifting through those corners, just with how tight of a racetrack it is. And like you're talking about, it's that endurance racing. You got 30 laps. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're at a 3.4-mile course, 100 miles around this course with RNG through the wazoo. We've seen it before. We're going to see it here tonight. Already 3 minutes to go in qualifying. Nobody has completed a lap just yet, but we do expect guys like Dunlap, Jack Merkel to be top of the charts as well. But I'm excited for this race. I don't know about you, Rich, but it is going to be a fun one here tonight.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. Like I said, we have some of the best we got some of the best drivers in the world here on this circuit. This as we mentioned earlier, very tight very technical, has done LaPrade. It's a 211, and that is on pole. Very slick, very tight. With those jumps that we mentioned earlier, not even intentional. Overcook it just a tad, and you're going to be flying off into turn 1 and possibly even, or excuse me, turn 2 and possibly turn 3. Turn 3 has no runoff, if I'm correct, because that is the water, and that could be day done.
Yeah, you don't
2
want to run
minutes.
into the water like we all predicted Josh Berry would do. Is Dun LaPrade, top of the charts so far in qualifying.
2 minutes ago, and he's over 2 seconds quicker to the next driver, that being Tyler Stallhood with a 213. Mercurio is in third. And Jack Merkel to the top of the board with a 211.086.
Incredible lap there ran by Merkel. Wow.
RJ Bishop sits currently third with a 211.613, about 6/10 off of Merkel's time. I'm going to assume Randall and Corbin's 229 and 232 were due to a spin of some sort. And Merkel believes he had a 210 in store.
And he just barely went to the top of the board. Most of these guys, again, you've got some of the top guys in here doing these, running these 211s. We saw that about the, we saw about what we're talking about there.
User was moved to your channel.
Where we're talking about, you know, what we talked about a little bit earlier, like, these cup drivers who are running about the 210, 211 brackets, a really good run for Jack Merkel so far. With 30 seconds to go in qualifying, 9 cars have put down a time so far. And I really think that it's going to be, you know, we don't see Jack Merkel a whole lot here in the Fast Racing League, but he's really good on these road courses. Of course, you and I, Rich, know just how good Dun LaPrade is on these road courses. There are going to be 2 guys that are going to be really hard to beat here tonight.
Absolutely. Dun LaPrade, as mentioned, the Fuel Sportsman Champion, crowned this past Friday. So congrats to him on that. 5 wins on the year. I think that was including 3 road courses. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then, of course, Jack Merkel. Any online league that has 4 wheels on it, he's probably running. He ran the Cars truck race on Monday, which was a road course race at Old Spice. I want to say he got top 5. I could be wrong, but I know he was running really well in that race before I overdrove one of the turns.
And you'll take a look at the starting lineup for tonight. 9 drivers putting down a lap time. The only 3 that did not put down a lap time: Tate Dorsey in the 64, Blake Warren, and Joshua Moyers. The 3 drivers of the 12 that'll start tonight to not put down a lap time here at Navy Base Speedway. As we take a look at Joshua Mercurio in that 98 machine.
I would like to confirm Merkel, in fact, won that race at Old Spice. So Merkel, very competent road racer.
Mercurio, he's going to be starting in the 5th spot here tonight. It is certainly going to be a fun one this evening as Mercurio out and away. And take a look once again at our race analysis for tonight. 30 laps with 13 cars starting on the grid. And again, just you look at just the sheer length of this track is really what just really gets me. It's the longest track in NASCAR Cup Series history. One of the longest, actually no, it's the longest track on the current NASCAR schedule. Road America, if not mistaken, has it beat out by maybe half a mile, I want to say.
Road America's at least 4 miles, so yeah.
Road America's 4 miles, and just how windy this track is really gets me, because you look at other tracks. Like, I think a great example of a track that has the length but races a lot, it doesn't race at all because of just how banked it is. You look at the Papyrus Motorsports Park, that is 3 3/4 of a mile long, but you're running lap times to like the 50 bracket here, there at that track. It would just how much you're just tiptoeing through the tulips and creeping around here at San Diego. It certainly takes just fine-tuning adjustments. A little more braking here, a little less acceleration there. Just trying to make those adjustments, just trying to learn the track as best as you can. And we're seeing it here from some of the best, you know, some of these best road racers we've got. And again, it's an endurance race. It is 16 turns, 2.25 minutes of just chaos for only one lap. You've got to make 30 of those. I can't believe the Cup drivers made 75 of them, with majority of them remaining in the race. It's just been it's been crazy. It has been fun, and we can't wait to see these drivers race out here for the first time at this track. And again, this track, if you're wondering where the download for it is not currently for download. This is just the beta version of this track. There will be a download. It'll be available from Area 23 Track Designs in the near future. This is currently the beta version of this track. Again, there's going to be a lot more surrounding buildings. There's going to be probably a better camera file than what we've got here. I will say, you know, just based on recording maybe about 20 minutes of the broadcast from Prime here today, and again, Prime, they did a fantastic job. I feel like I did a pretty good job on this camera file based on the existing camera angles that we had during the race. And again, you know, doing that from scratch, it is not the easiest task in the world. I would say it's darn near. It's not easy. It's very tedious, and we're seeing a lot of that here today. But it's definitely worth it. You know, spending 2 hours, north of 2 hours, on just getting the camera angles right. As RJ Bishop, fortunately for him, we did not run into the tire barrier. They're going through turn 10, but that is considered a penalty. But overall, you know, I feel like a broken record by saying this, but you know, we don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be fun nonetheless.
Yeah, expect anything and everything. I think that's the mentality we went in with the NASCAR races this weekend. Mostly good impressions. A few thoughts, though, on the idea of holding it on the naval base in general, but that's a story for another time. But the track ran well. No complaints on that end. Thankfully, the concrete doesn't move here, so I don't think we need to worry about resetting the walls after someone hits them.
Fortunately.
Yeah. So I think we are in for a good showing.
I think we definitely are, as going ahead and trying to get this thing promoted. We've already got a handful of people watching the stream. We got 7 people in the stream already so far. But it is going to be fun. Joshua Mercurio currently the only driver to put down a lap time in happy hour, with already happy hour just coming to a close. We didn't even get a chance to put up our ticker for happy hour. Still says practice, and you know what? At this point, Joshua Mercury, the only one to put down a lap time, and he's considered the winner on this ticker. Oh, you gotta love NR 2003, Rich.
About what, 20-something years old at this point?
23. It's almost a quarter of a century old, and just with the incredible community that it possesses, that's what makes it so possible. That you get a track like this that was built, you know, again, this has been a labor of love over the last couple of weeks by Tate Dorsey and Area 23 Track Designs. But when you get a community that's building a brand new track like what we've got here, that was, you know, debuted this weekend, it's probably, I would gauge that it's probably going to end up being a one and done, mostly just for America 250. But you know, once this is released out to the public, you know, I can 100% see myself holding an offline race here. You know, just it is such a very fun track just to watch. And even, you know, on the beta version, you know, there's not a whole lot of background stuff. But again, you've got F-18s to look at. You've got a couple of aircraft carriers. You know, we're going to be giving Tate Dorsey his flowers all night long for just how incredible of a track this is. And the fact this is only the beta version, and it's just going to get better from here, really shows just the love and dedication that he, Randall Coleman, and everybody at A23 have for this track, and just how much of a labor of love it really is.
It's a beta version, and it looks better than some finished versions of some in our tracks, so Tate should just be giving himself a pat on the back just for that alone. So I cannot wait to see how the finished version looks, as RJ Bishop completely blows turn 1 and finds the tires.
That's something you don't want to do.
Yeah. Unideal.
Mercurio going around in the 98, again, part of that Warren Wentz Racing stable. It doesn't look like most of the tire packs have solid quality, so it doesn't look like we're going to be seeing drivers completely nose in. But we are going to go ahead and go downstairs for the start of tonight's race.
To your car.
There's a look at Tate Dorsey's 64 machine. Go ahead and set up our onboard camera with him on this Valvoline 64 Ford Mustang. And we'll go downstairs and send things down track side, or rather a flight line side, for the most famous words in motorsports, to fire the engines for the first ever NR2003 online race. Here at Naval Base Coronado, Jack Merkel and Don LaPrade ready to lead them to the green, but before we do that, we got to fire the engines for the first ever race here at Navy Base Speedway for the Mission San Diego, here for the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series' 5th race of Segment 2 of 2026.
Drivers, start your engines!
12 cars come to life here at Navy Base Speedway. We are ready to go in the field just out of turn 13, making their way towards the start-finish line and making their way towards this race. Got a lot of heavy hitters in this race here tonight. Rich, who's your pick to win Mission San Diego here tonight for race number 5 of the season?
Call me biased, but I think Den has a very good shot at taking the victory tonight.
Don LaPrade starting on the outside pole. You know what? I'm going to go with our guy Tyler Stallhood for the admin for the Fuel Racing League, but you could really pick any driver's name out of a hat here of who's got a chance to win tonight. 12 cars heading towards the Reese's restart zone, but it's Jack Merkel in the Exalta 24 who will lead them through. Green flag is out and away. Welcome to NASCAR 2003 racing season, San Diego, for green flag racing at Coronado.
Dunn gets a good run through turn 1, takes the lead. Merkel going to hold him even down into turn 2. Few cars loose over the jump, but that's not to be not surprising. Side by side, out of 2.
Everybody going through Rogers Road through turns 2 and 3, and everybody has survived the opening set of corners. Merkel back on the counterattack of Don LaPrade as they head off around Carrier Corner towards Murray Avenue. The Carl Vinson Jr. standing proud as the field will thunder down Murray Avenue towards Carrier Corner. Merkel first one through, LaPrade in second, and Tyler Stallhood jumping up a handful of spots. In that third spot, Drew Fast up to 4th, and rounding out the top 5, Joshua Mercurio in the 98. RJ Bishop sliding back to the 99. Randall Coleman trying to grab a gear. Corey Stallhood in the 45 as well. So field will head off towards 6 and 7. Merkel, really good. Stallhood into the wall off turn 7. Trying to save that car. And the Joshua Moyers also trying to save his automobile in the back. Not as impressive as the 360 we saw earlier from Chris Buescher, which may have been the greatest save I have ever seen in NASCAR. But still, Stallhood able to retain his 3rd spot as we go onto the flight line for the first time under speed, and everybody starting to figure things out. But again, this is the slickest part of the course here on this concrete, and Moyers looking to move underneath of Stallhood as they go through turn 12A, nearly clipping the tire barriers as they go through the Pala Casino Bridge. Moyers trying to grab that spot away from Corey Stallhood, and he will, so move the 68 machine up a spot. Stallhood dropping back in the 45. Back down Runway Road, going LaPrade and Merkel. They'll make their way towards the chicane for the first time under speed. Merkel nice and easy through. LaPrade will follow right in his tire tracks. See, does anybody have any issues? Corey Stallhood very late going through the corner, and he's just going to hit the wall. Tate Dorsey's going to get in him in the 64.
No harm, no foul. Both guys keep going, but Dorsey's going to be a bit behind the main group of cars as we start the second lap.
Corbin Wentz and Blake Warren rounding out the field. They just cross the start-finish line. A couple of Fuel Racing League veterans going side by side. Meanwhile, Merkel's already through turn 3 as Jack Merkel and Don LaPrade have pulled away considerably From the 7 of Stallhood, Drew Fast up into 4th, and like we said, Mercurier in the top 5 spot.
Drew Fast is trying to put the hurry up on Tyler Stallhood. There's two Stallhoods now, so they got to distinguish between which one. But looks like Tyler got a good exit out of, I think that's what, 5?
I believe that was turn 5. Down on the
As
makeshift back straightaway through the winding area between 5 and 6.
Looks like Tyler able to pull out a bit on the 74 as everyone makes their way through turns 6 and 7. I say that, RJ into the wall, but keeps it straight.
Bishop into the outside wall, and he'll fall from the 6th spot down to 8th as Joshua Moyers has picked his way up through the field. He and Randall Coleman were 7th and 8th that last time by. They'll both move up a spot, and Joshua Moyers, we haven't really seen being that effective on the road courses. That 68 car started deep in the field, all the way back in 12th as RJ Bishop starting to really lose the handle on that Kroger Thomas 99 car. And Moyers, just we're talking about him, he goes into the wall out of turn 10.
That all started when Randall's car broke loose, and I think Moyers swung to avoid it and almost lost it himself.
So those two Revolution Motorsports teammates nearly breaking sideways. They will fall back a little bit more in relation to Joshua Mercurio and Drew Fast. Mercurio drawing a really good bead on the back end of that 74 car.
Fast seems to be better in the braking zones than the two cars around him, but in the high-speed parts of the track, and mainly in the acceleration, is where Tyler and Mercurio get him as he clips the wall entering turn 1. No harm, no foul.
It's going to be a really good battle for 4th on here. Mercury, you could see all 4 wheels leaf on the ground. That is quite a jump. As you see Tate Dorsey again, that is just going to completely muck around with the rear diffuser and just the undercarriage on these bodies. These guys are going to be abusing these suspensions all day long. Coleman wide out of turn 3. Moyers trying to take advantage, going around through turn 4 back onto Murray Ave.
Up front of them, Mercurio has gotten around fast for 4th.
Joshua Mercurio up into that 4th spot, now putting the gun sights on the back end of Tyler Stallhood's 7 machine. Mercurio has been a driver that has been up and down in the NR2003 scene as of late, particularly here on the NASRN. Didn't exactly have the best of races earlier today during the Fuel Sportsman Series tape-delayed broadcast at Michigan. I believe he was one of the 4 cars that was officially knocked out of the race, if memory serves me right.
He would have finished 6th, but his game crashed right before he crossed the finish line.
Oh, that is not good. That's not what you want. But he is gaining a lot of ground on this 7 of Stallhood. And here he is trying to move down to the inside of him. He's been gaining a lot of ground. Didn't have the best of qualifying efforts. Like you said, I believe he spun out during qualifying. And Stallhood is just trying to hold on as much as he can, but Mercurio is coming. You can just see how tight this corridor around the flight line is. And Stallhood spins around right in front of Mercurio. He's going to loop it back around. I don't know if that's going to be enough for a multi-caution, but that was right in front of Mercurio. And once again, God, I feel like that has happened several times. It's Tyler Stallhood, who has not had a good day today here on the NASRN. He blows the corner out, right nearly gets clobbered there by the 64. And Tyler Stallhood, who was running in 3rd, will now fall into the 8th spot. Going around twice, and quite a bit amount of damage on that Coleman car 7 car. And he will have to come down to the pit lane. That was quite the lap for the 4th time around Navy Base Speedway for the 7 machine.
Well, that spin probably heated his tires up. Went to take the next turn, not realizing his tires were worn and on fire, and well, we saw what happened. There's huge damage to the front end and the left-hand side of Tyler Stallhood, and we're bad news for RJ Bishop fans out there. He has lost 2nd gear.
So that is going to be absolutely killer for RJ Bishop. You know, he was talking about that earlier on today during practice about just potentially losing gears and now losing second gear. That is killer, especially on these tight these tight corridors where you're bank shifting from first to third, so you've got no launch off. And this is going to be a long afternoon for this Kroger-Thomas team. Two drivers that we typically see on the Fuels Racing League side of things having issues, but back out front, still Jack Merkel, who has opened things up to a 2.2-second lead the last time by over Dunn LaPrade. I think Dunn is beginning to just bide his time a little bit here with this 47, just trying to split this race into thirds. Again, these guys can do about 11 to 12 laps, so right at about the end of each stage, that's where we're going to see these guys come down the pit lane. Every 11 to 12 laps for these drivers. So right, because again, stages 10, 20, and 30 for when they end on track. You're splitting this race into thirds with your pit strategy, essentially.
Josh Mercurio currently running third, and that's about the only good news for Warren Wentz Racing. Of Corbin and Blake. Corbin once Blake Warren hit the pit lane, and it looked like Blake had a right front down. So all of Warren Wentz Racing's hopes of winning this race lies with this number 98 car.
Mercurio has been running well, but these two have left that 98 Ford out in a dust heap. Currently 11 seconds between Jack Merkel and Joshua Mercurio that last time by. Again, Mercurio did have to jump on the brakes a lot. And how about Joshua Moyers, currently in fourth, plus 10 positions on the track so far for the 68 machine. And the defending segment champion, that Bass Pro Shop 68 Chevrolet. He has been cutting his way already, like we said, plus 10 spots, 4 laps bookended into the race. Right now, Merkel catching up to lap traffic. Blake Warren, who just came down the pit lane, getting out of the way of this Raptor 24 machine, going through turns 6 and 7. And he is just going to get way out of the way of Dunn LaPrade as well, and he'll be back on his merry way. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see what happened to Tyler Stallhood on that third lap of the race. The terrible, horrible, no good, very bad lap 3 for car number 7. Won the season opener earlier on here in 2026. He was running in third at the time. He just got loose coming out of turn 11 by the looks of it. Did not have a good entrance into turn 12B. Looped the car. Somehow, I can't believe Joshua Mercurio did not hit him. And he gets the car refired back around. And like you said, Rich, his tires were pretty much just on fire at that point. You've got no grip
Blake
going into the next corner. And Blake...
Bridge. He got the car going again, but looks like a self-spin. No harm, no foul to anyone. Though he was getting lapped by Mercurio right around the time he spun. And Corbin Wentz has called it quits on the day.
So Corbin Wentz will be the first retiree of tonight's race, and Blake Warren, like you were talking about, has gone around. We'll take a quick look at that. Warren still on lap number 4 of the afternoon, right out of turn number 10. And looked like you were talking about, just trying to goose the car a little bit too much. And he does a 360. I give that a solid 5 out of 7. You know what? I'm going to give that a solid 10 out of 17 on the Chris Buescher scale.
That is right after the RB chicane.
That is right in front of pit entrance, just behind turn 16. It's not a great lap for Blake Warren.
RJ Bishop's in the pit lane, and I think, never mind. Blake's car, I thought he had a flat tire for a second.
Blake Warren currently the first car one lap down.
Bishop stays down as well, and that's listed as accident damage.
Well, I'm not sure about that, because again, I'm not surprised in the slightest that RJ is going to call it a day, because the last thing you want to do is just be bank shifting and destroying your transmission even worse. Losing second gear is probably the worst thing you can do at a road course, because you can potentially live without fourth gear. Third gear, that's not the greatest, but losing second gear is just an absolute killer, because you can lose first gear and you can just be in second as your low gear, but like that transition between first and third, you are just going to be having a horrible time all day. You're not going to be able to really do anything, especially at a technical track like this, and that is such a tough break for RJ Bishop. as he and Corbin Wentz, the Wentz Racing Brigade, not having the greatest of days, but a driver that is having a pretty good day so far. Jack Merkel on that 24 machine, currently 2.2 seconds ahead of Dunn LaPrade. Dunn, he's just driving his own race right now. And same thing with Joshua Moyers, as he was able to get around Joshua Mercurios in the Battle of the Joshes in favor of the defending champion from segment 1 of the season. Mercurio, he's starting to lose a lot of time to Randall Coleman's 9 machine.
I wonder if he used to step up too much trying to get through the field. And that's
That
what
wouldn't
it looks
surprise
like.
me.
Just going through the replay. Oh, he missed turn 2. That might have something to do with it.
So that is not what you want from Mercurio as we go on board with Dunn LaPrade. We're going to take you around for a lap here. See just how narrow this track is. There's the Carl Vinson over on the right-hand side of your screen. You've got nice F-18 flying right above. We got a flyover. You can't exactly say that about all the tracks here in NR 2003, that you get a flyover. We had a flyover here tonight. Rolling around through turn number 5, just letting out of the gas, not using a whole lot of brake here for Dunn. Shifting his way all the way up into 3rd gear, getting at about maybe 8,000 RPM up to 3rd gear before you start downshifting and slowing down for 6. See, he's currently in 3rd right now. And again, just about edging the gear there, getting into 4th gear, but not quite getting into 4th. Remaining in 2nd, coming around through this area, tiptoeing his way through turn 8 and 9. The really technical part of the course. Turns 11 through 12. You can see the back end step out a little bit on that 74 through turn 12 and off towards turn 12B. All the while, Merkel continuing to pull away a little bit. That gap now at 3 seconds between Merkel and LaPrade. So Merkel's starting to really open things up. Dunn going through turn 13.
Ooh, we have several cars with flat tires. Randall Coleman has a flat right front. Drew Fast is now in the middle. He was surrounded by cars. He's no longer
Oh, and Coleman,
anymore.
he absolutely blew turn 6. Same thing
hi,
with
Blake.
a 12. Oh, my Lord, that was nearly bad, as Blake Warren nearly sent the 9 car into the stratosphere.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know, Rich, if these guys can do 11 to 12 laps. Mercurio, he's definitely got a flat right front. Moyers trying to come down the pit lane. He nearly hit the barrels. That was nearly a barrel check there for the 68. He doesn't have a flat right front tire, but with how much weight is being put around, it doesn't surprise me that these guys are really starting to struggle a lot in terms of tire wear. Corey Stolhood trying to get around his brother, Tyler. These two nearly making some contact.
Blake also has a flat left front. Not surprising considering his lockup into wherever Randall was parked.
I was out of turn 6, and Blake just trying to get there. He is just lumbering his way around the track. For Randall Coleman, that is a gut punch for a driver who was running in the 5th spot at the time. Was trying to gun up for 4th there with Mercurio, and he's going to be towed back, and he might lose a handful of spots. And now the Stolhood brothers get together. Corey trying to save it.
What a save!
Little bit of brotherly love. And you know what? That's how you know that Corey is a Stolhood, because he just made one of the best saves that I've seen. And usually nice save is the moniker for Tyler Stolhood, but had his brother Corey into the equation there. Some great driving out of that young gun. Nearly clipped the tire barriers out of 13, but my goodness.
Well, I can tell you what 2 drivers aren't tire saving.
They are not. They're currently battling for the 8th and 9th spots, and now Tyler gets into the wall. Corey will come down the pit lane as they'll now come down here on lap 8.
I'm starting to think the only 2 drivers that can make 3 drivers that can make it on 2 lap 11 are the drivers who are currently about 20 seconds ahead of everyone else, and then the 3rd place car who hasn't had put a foot wrong all race, as Tyler has hit the turn 1 wall and makes turn 2. thought he was going to miss it for a second.
Can't exactly tell if that's just the setup on that 7 car, or I don't think he has a flat right front. He should be fine.
Corey.
I don't know. I can't really tell. I mean, he's able to turn the car fairly well, so I don't think any of those tires are flat. Corey Stallhood out of the pit lane.
Tate Dorsey, flat left front. He is in turn 15.
That is definitely a flat left front tire. Unfortunately, he is right at the entrance of the pit lane. He's going to back it down a lot, trying to get through the RB chicane. Trying to turn right as much as he can, and the designer of this track will get into the pit lane safely. That's the advantage you've got as the person who designed this track for NR2003 is you know what limitations you can do, especially when you get an oh crap scenario like that. But Coleman's still getting a tow back to the pit lane. That's going to be a long tow for Randall. Like Warren trying to put on some fresh Goodyears, and the same will do so for Tate Dorsey. We aren't even through stage number 1 of the day, Rich. We're not even 10 laps into this race, and we have had so much fun. It has been nothing but a good time here, and out on just a Sunday night Father's Day drive is Jack Merkel in that 24 machine. Currently a 5-second lead over Dunlap-Rod, who just got around Corey Stallhood. Corey looking to get that lap back. Nearly swung the back end out on that 45, but he's able to remain out a little bit.
Corey cost Dunn a lot of time. I don't think it's intentional. Dunn just caught him at the worst possible part of the track, which is the entire technical section. Dunn, don't wreck the second place car, please.
Let's not pull a Michael Maples and wreck the second place driver.
This is helping Merkel a lot.
Immensely.
Dunn has to keep his eyes outside of the car because Corey, I think, is faster with the fresher tires. However, I'm going to be honest, he's still getting used to this game. He is, from what I understand, from the GT world, and stock cars handle a little bit differently than GT cars. Just a little bit. There's, a smidge less downforce, a smidge less grip on these heavy, bulky stock cars compared to a PTA car. That cost him about done 3 seconds to Merkel. And that is not what you want, and that is exactly what you want if you're Jack Merkel in the 24. As he will roll around the corner in turn 4. Oh, big lockup from Corey, and into turn 3. He is having issues. He has a flat left front. I believe, yeah, he has got a flat left front tire on that G Fuel 45. And he has got a long way to go to try to get back to the pit lane. He is trying to lumber. He's going to be caught up there by Joshua Moyers, and that car is not turning whatsoever. Got to be careful. If you're Josh, you got to try and just gingerly get around this 45. And he'll do so as Corey, thanks to a big lockup, blows the light right front tire, and that automobile is seeing some better days by the looks of it. Incredibly, only one car out of the race. That was Corbin Wentz, who retired 5 laps ago. As Mercurio will blitz around the 45 machine into turn 6. But Merkel, Laprade, and Joshua Moyers, along with Joshua Mercurio, they're the only cars that have not pit yet. If memory serves me right, because Merkel, looking at the monitor right now, Merkel, Laprade, Moyers, and Mercurio. Dunn is pitting this lap. Well, there goes that strategy. Merkel running his way through turns 14 and 15. See if Merkel will come down the pit lane to try and flip this stage. I mean, you might as well come down the pit lane now, and he'll do so. I don't know. He's got to batten it down. He may have got a speeding penalty. Pit road speed is 40 miles an hour, and Dunn is going to stay out. He called the fake. And that's going to get him, I think that's going to get him a stage win. So Dunlap-Rod with an incredible call. Jack Merkel came down the pit lane, and Dunlap-Rod with a fake out for the ages right now will be the new leader, and he will win stage number 1. I can't believe, I can't, Dunlap-Rod, I can't believe we saw him sold a dummy, and
Mercurio, very weird trying to get out of his pit stall there. He almost flipped the car coming out of the pit. Some very interesting net code on the pit area. Mercurio down the pit lane. Merkel out and away for his first pit stop of the afternoon. Dunlapron and Joshua Moyers, the two drivers to stay out.
Appears to have a flat, but he's in the pit lane, so it doesn't really matter.
Corey Stallhood currently still in turn 15, just trying to get through the RB chicane.
We do have a fun little battle for fifth between Drew Fast and Tate Dorsey.
Those two twitching around. Oh my lord. These two always find each other on track and always put on some really good performances. Fast currently running in fifth and Tate trying to get in that sixth spot. As Corey Stallhood will finally bring that 45 back into the pit area. But this is going to be interesting based on the strategy, because Dunn is going to have one lap older tires than Jack Merkel. You know, we didn't really get a chance to see it here today with the cautions, but, you know, what is going to be better, the overcut or the undercut? And do we get a caution flag? And, you know, bravo to these drivers for making it a third of the way through one of the toughest tracks that we'll go to here in the Fast Racing League without bringing out a caution flag. Knock on wood, of course, but you're just trying to get things going here. And you're just trying to get to the end. It has been a really fun race so far, but we're not even at the halfway point. We've been racing for 45 minutes. We've only completed 11 laps. That is how the racing goes here. Actually, we've been racing for about 20 minutes.
Where'd you get 45 from?
I was looking at my watch. Blake Warren down and away, down the front straightaway. He's just trying to find any grip in that body armor 12 car. Looks like all four Goodyears are inflated. We have been racing actually 26 minutes. My apologies.
Ooh, walk up from Moyers in the pit lane, but he gets in there. No speeding penalty for Merkel from the looks of it, as he is going to come and take the lead as Dunn is in the pit lane.
Four tires going all the way around that 47 car, and that is exactly how much ground that Jack Merkel gained. So it looks like that's going to be it. Whoever's going to come down the pit lane first will likely gain a lot of time on the other driver, and that undercut looks to be the way to go just based on how much time you gain on these fresher tires. And we're going to see Merkel already down Murray Avenue heading towards Carrier Corner. He's already through the S's there on Murray Ave. Right there around the corner. We'll try and time just how far back he's got. Trying to grab the stopwatch app on my phone at least. Right there in turn 3, right at the 3 marker, heading towards turn 6. We'll see just how much time Dunlapron lost. He's already about 10 seconds behind at the line. 13.5 seconds, the gap between Laprade and Jack Merkel, as Blake Warren has gone off course once again. This time, he might have a flat right front. No, everything is still inflated on that 12 car. He's currently 3 laps down.
Just to keep an update on the battle for third, the 68 car of Moyers did get in front of Mercurio, or stay in front of Mercurio. So, good work by the driver of the 68 car.
Moyers sliding the back end through turn 6 and 7. And Mercurio, who has come down the pit lane a handful of times. Again, Moyers is the only driver. Actually, no, Joshua Moyers did pit that last time by, correct?
Yeah, both drivers, yeah.
Yes,
Mercurio and Merkel pitted on the same lap, Moyers and Dunn pitted on the same lap.
All right, gotcha, all right, that's what I thought. You know, that's the one drawback to GNL, is that, you know, everything does not cycle out until the next lap has been completed. So we're waiting about, you know, 2 minutes and 15 seconds for new data every lap. So that's why, because I saw on the monitor that
ooh, big air from Merkel.
Oh, Lord. We just missed that there in the 24. We'll go ahead and grab a quick replay at it.
Yeah, that new streak is thanks to him.
We'll see this 24 car out through the corner, and he was carrying a lot of speed. Woo! You could absolutely hear the RPMs revving like crazy.
Also, something I noticed, and this could be because scoring hasn't updated yet. Never mind. Scoring has updated. Moyer's is about 30 seconds behind Dunn.
And he's going to get some pretty big air
Mercurius.
too there as well between turns 1 and 2.
Mercurio into the pit lane again. However, he is off strategy. Actually, I don't know anyone who's on strategy at this point.
I don't know if there
So-
is a strategy at this point. I think it's just between Merkel and LaPrade, it's pretty much just a game of chicken for those two. Moyers has just been kind of doing his own thing as well, as we got the Dukes of Hazzard theme for Tate Dorsey going up through the bump.
Something I just realized, Merkel set his fastest lap of the race that last time by.
He is just blitzing these guys.
Being one of the few people who was able to keep a flame to Zach Rogers and Maverick when they both ran over, actually Merkel still runs over there, but when Zach Rogers ran over there, you gotta be very quick, and being the only driver in the 210 by about a second, yeah, Merkel's a pretty good road racer.
He's definitely showing his worth here today, as he's currently got a 15-second lead, at least that last time by over Dunn LaPrade, considering LaPrade is just now going through turn 13. And Merkel just now exiting the RB chicane. He's
Stallhood
putting a
brothers.
lot of gaps on that 47 car. Well, you got the Stallhood brothers in front of him, and again, we could very well get a caution flag at any point in this race. There's still quite a few cars battling it out on track with the 11 cars remaining out there. But Merkel's going to try and get around lap traffic. It's going to be very tough to get around these Stallhood brothers. They do their darndest.
Dorsey clipped the wall in turn 11 and almost wiped out Drew Fast.
What I say about these guys always finding each other every single week? As Merkel, close call there between this 24 and the 45. Jack will get underneath of Tyler Stallhood, going through the corner of 5, and he's going to make the pass.
Tyler's going to try to fight that one a little bit, considering he could be a back stealing the
Jack's
lap,
on much
but,
faster. Jack is on much fresher tires. I don't think he's going to be able to hold a really flame to it. Corey driving it in deep. That was a really good entry there for the 45, and now the two brothers will get together. They spin down the back straightaway. Is that going to be a multi? Corey trying to get that car pointed in the right direction as Dunn LaPrade is coming through. Dunn needs this caution.
Caution lights are out.
And the yellow flag is out for the first time today, and Drew Fast spins out of turn 2.
Hey, good and Tate may have gotten a piece of it, or he
just slammed on the brakes.
Okay.
Just to not run into that 74 car. And for the first time tonight, just behind the halfway point of the race, the caution flag comes out for the opening time here at Mission San Diego. And this changes everything. And that 13-second lead that Dunn LaPrade had, or that Jack Merkel had on Dunn LaPrade, fugazi, nonsense, whatever you want, it is gone. And the slate has been wiped clean here in San Diego.
Took us longer than I thought, but eh.
Hey, we should have a fuel race here next season. I think that'll definitely go over. You know, that would be a ton of fun to see the fuel guys race here.
I hope you know, if you ever do that, I am sponsoring the race to the point where the track is not going to be out here.
You're going to spend $50 just to delete the track. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm surprised nobody did that with Bent Twig earlier. Because I jokingly suggested that during the off-season, and now we're going to be racing there in 3 days.
From the online races I've seen at Bent Twig, it looks fun. Not saying this track doesn't look fun. I just don't want to drive it. I don't want to say I hate road courses, but I hate road courses with no grip. That being said, Tate,
there's no grip out here.
That being said, Tate, this track looks very good, very competitive, and I think, despite this being a beta version, you made this track look a lot better than the actual version, especially if those F-18s parked down the runway.
So Jack Merkel will be behind the pace car. There'll be two pace laps here, or 2 caution laps. It looks like Tyler Stallhood would be the first car. I don't know. I don't believe we're going to be getting a lucky dog. It it's either going to be no lucky dog or Randall Coleman will be the lucky dog.
I'm assuming we go off the same rules we do at fuel, would be Randall. Because Randall would have been the first car one lap down that wasn't involved in the incident.
We'll take a look and see what happened to Tyler Stallhood as he was battling with his brother as they were being lapped by Jack Merkel. And this happened out of turn 5, just out of carrier corner. And this all starts when Tyler actually no, this happened out of turn 7. Tyler was just trying to keep pace with the 24.
Oh, it looks like he clipped the inside wall, and Corey just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, because Corey, he had a really good move there. He hit the inside wall, bounces off, nowhere for Corey to go. And the Stallhood brothers get around, and I don't think that they're going to be, I don't know what they're going to be doing here tonight.
You think
What a Father's Day gift for their dad, by the way.
I know. Because do you think their grandmother will have to get involved so they talk to each other at Thanksgiving?
I don't know about that, and Drew Fast and Tate Dorsey find each other. And fortunately, they weren't able to make contact. Just a single spin there from Tate, or from Drew, I should say.
Very easy to do. Downhill section into a heavy braking zone. Loop the car around, no harm, no foul. Both guys continue with no damage.
So we're within, you know, and this is going to make things really interesting right at the end of this race, because we're going to get this race restarted probably with 14 laps to go. None of these guys are going to be able to make it to the end on tire wear, Rich.
Definitely not the way we're going.
Because, again, about the ceiling is maybe 10 to 11 laps is what we said earlier on in the broadcast. About 10 to 11, you know, we're not even seeing like a second and a half to 2 seconds. We're seeing a 3 or 4 second fall off, because right now Jack Merkel, his best lap at 2:10, and I mean his last lap was at 2:16, but I don't know. We are going to be seeing everybody coming down the pit lane here. Stallhood will move out ahead. He's going to get the EOL penalty, so that's why he's down the pit lane.
The biggest thing I could think of would be the limiting factor is tires, but there also, if I'm correct, a 6-tire set limit, and a few of these drivers have already gone through a decent chunk. So
Merkel into his pit stall first, as he and Dunn synchronizingly slide in the tires, so they're both going to get 4 Mr. Feelgoods. Oh, an issue with the gun on the 47, or did he just take 2 tires? Dunn just trying to get out of his pit stall there. I don't know what the issue is with the 47.
What? Oh, I think he was too close to the wall.
Oh, no. That is going to be a ton of time lost for Dunn. Fortunately, that is going to be during, fortunately, this is a caution period. If that was during the green flag, that would have killed him, but he is going to be deep in the back, I believe.
Today I learned that you can, if you park too close to the pit wall, you can reverse and get the tires taken care of. Did not know that until 30 seconds ago.
Well, that was quick thinking out of Dunn. I wasn't sure if there was something wrong with the pit area or maybe gone in the wrong pit stall based on the angle we were at. But wise, quick thinking out of Dunn LaPrade. Instead of taking 2 tires, he just loses a little bit of time to take 4. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, since we're going to be bunched up for the restart here in a few moments.
Did McCurry a bit? Because he's in second as things stand.
I believe he did.
No.
He did not, really. In the words of, oh my God, Pepper Franks or whatever, Pepper Gordon, whatever, the color commentator guy from Dodgeball, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Well, I don't know. Let's see if it plays out.
I am wondering if he's aiming to make it to lap 20 or 21 to make it on fuel. As are we going green this time? Pace lights are out.
So we are going to be going green this time around. And this is really going to change things up a lot. Again, the choose code was all the way back towards turn 8. Everybody's trying to catch up. Again, these are with how long the track is, how long these caution periods are, you get only 2 laps. And, with everybody coming down the pit lane, it gives not a whole lot of time as Corey nearly wrecking under caution. But he's going to keep that 45 car straight. And I believe, I don't know, this might be some interesting scoring stuff here. I think Dunn is going to have to try and get around this 45. And he's going to have to get around the 68 car as well. This is going to be interesting scoring-wise. Not entirely sure what's all going on, but it looks like all 11 cars that remain in the race will get re-gridded up.
Yes, so top 2 are Merkel and the 98 of Mercurio, then it's the 68, this 47, and 74. That's your running order. Tyler did get back on the lead lap from, actually no, Tyler is still a lap down. Scoring is a bit wonky. Green flag here at San Diego.
Merkel, LaPrade, Moyers, faster top 5. Mercurio trying to thunder down to the inside. Again, he's on those older Goodyears as everybody gets into the wall. Flying down the hill, heading towards turn 2. Merkel, first one on. Mercurio trying to outbrake him and drew fast into the tire barriers. He's able to phase on through. Mercurio on the outside, trying to hold off, and Jack Merkel being swallowed. And here comes Dunn LaPrade right on the back end of the 24. He had to get out of the gas to avoid hitting the wall. But Dunn already moving up quite a few spots in the 47. But here comes Merkel, trying to find a way around Mercurio. He might get it through 5.
Dunn needs Mercurio to hold up Merkel as much as possible if he wants any chance to win this race. Blake Warren has had a few spins in the back of the field. He has got the car going again.
We remain green. Mercurio out front. We're past the halfway point in this race on lap 17. 14 laps to go here at Navy Base Speedway. Tate Dorsey nearly into the wall and nearly clipping the 9 car. Was a 74 of fast. It was way too close in front of that 9 of Randall Coleman. But it's still Mercurio who still leads. But again, that tire wear advantage for Jack Merkel is going to come into play, and it might come into play here now. Not able to get a ledge down to the inside. Mercurio has the preferred line all throughout this stretch, and Merkel trying to make the pass. Trying to get to the outside. No. Mercurio, he did not have any grip coming out of 11. 12B they go. Jack still not able to grab a ledge. Josh Moyers nearly getting into the wall. Down this really fast section, way wide goes the 98. Here comes Merkel. He'd have the preferred line, but he's not able to grab the ledge. And look at Dunn LaPrade diving it down. He gained so much time. And Merkel spins the 98. Jack Merkel out of this world, and the caution flag is likely going to fly again. From the race lead, Jack Merkel gets taken out. Rather, that was Joshua Mercurio that got taken out. He got pinched in there by Jack Merkel. And this changes everything once again.
Small update on scoring. Coleman is back on the lead lap. He was a lucky dog. I'm going to assume Tyler will be the lucky dog this time. But that is new tires versus old tires. Merkel could break deeper than Mercurio. Mercurio couldn't because worn tires. Merkel didn't expect it and ran through the 98. And that is few big hits for the 98 car.
Grab a gander at the replay. That was chaos defined. And we'll take a look at it here. We saw that happening right on our screens. Like you said, new tires versus old tires, and Mercurio did not get a breakdown in time, and he goes into the stratosphere for a moment before exiting out on the other side. That was very ugly, and fortunately for Mercurio, it doesn't look like he got too banged up in that incident. Just out of the world. No harm, no foul there. He hit the inside wall, rebounds back over. I thought he was just going to get bounced out of the server.
My suggestion for the future release of this track is to put a tire wall there.
Or have some textures.
Runoff, yeah.
Because I don't think we need anybody going to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah. I'm wondering how Mercurius' strategy would have worked. He wasn't racing, obviously, Dunn or Merkel. He was racing the 68. So I wonder if he was going to try to make it to lap 21, set in a few hot laps, and then make it.
Well, this thing made just things even more interesting in terms of tire wear, because we got 13 to go. I imagine all these drivers will come down, and I'm not sure how things are going to work out if Merkel is going to get an EOL penalty.
You are, at least everywhere else I ran, you are responsible for the driver ahead of you. Unless they're swerving, which Mercurio wasn't.
I mean, that was ultimately a racing deal, but again, like you said, you know, just the tire wear difference between those two was really the deciding factor in that crash. But I don't know. I mean, Merkel might have a tail end of the longest line penalty, and if he does, that's the dominant car of the day at the end of the line, and that is going to be a really big sticking point there for Merkel if he does indeed get this EOL.
So let's, as we go through the third sector of this course, we're probably going to restart with on lap 20, so 10 to go. If they pit now, they can make it on fuel. Tires is a different concern. We know the 98 has already made his pit stop because he got sent to the shot realm. Let's see. Merkel isn't claiming that yet, unless he wasn't given a manual EOL. So they might have considered that a racing deal.
I mean, I believe, because that would be a huge decision to make for these drivers. So they're all down the pit lane, and we apologize for some frame rate issues that we've got going on. But overall, it looks like we should be good to go. Knock on wood. But Merkel, 4 tires going all the way around. Tate Dorsey is going to get out ahead of these drivers. Tate took 2 tires. Or did he miss his pit stall? I believe he just took 2 tires.
Let's see how that one pays out. He is also racing effectively.
Well, he just hit the wall off turn 2, so there goes that strategy. Oh boy.
Well, let's be fair here, he's going for either 3rd or 4th, so that might not be the end of the world.
And you know what? He likely knows something that we don't about this. Again, like we said this earlier, he knows the limitations of this track. He knows what it can do and what it can't do. He's also seen that this track eats up tires and spits them out like they're broccoli, like it's a toddler eating broccoli. But I don't know. It's like Pepperbrook said, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. But this is the point of the race where you're just trying to throw anything at the kitchen sink. But I mean, for Dunn Laprade and Jack Merkel, we're gonna get this race restarted with 11 laps to go. For them and Joshua Moyers, they should be able to stretch things out in terms of tire wear. For everybody else, I really don't know, considering that we've seen so many flat left fronts in this race. You know, and I don't know. I mean,
I'm starting
these
to
top
wonder
2
if Tate's
should be good.
Top 3 should be good. I wonder if Tate's trying to bank on everyone, the 9, the 74, and the 98 having flats, because that is very possible here, as Merkel and Moyers both hit the cone. Don't know if that's going to send them to the end of the longest line, but they were very clearly notating what lane they were going to, so that might not be one. Doesn't look like it. So, Tate Dorsey is going to lead the field to the green flag. He's got Jack Merkel, the dominant car of this day, to his left. Behind them, Dunn Laprade and Joshua Moyers. Laprade is probably going to need a... or not Laprade. Moyers is probably going to need something to happen to the 24 and 74 for anything that, or 47 for anything, for him to have a chance. as it appears my broadcasting partner has.
We're
ran
gonna
into
find
some-
out. Sorry, I've got
Oh, he's back.
a bot in the NASRN server right now I'm trying to deal with.
Ah, fun.
That is always, we have found well, oh my lord, what was the bot from a couple weeks ago?
Oh.
In the fuel server, the Kenmore Deluxe, if you will. They just joined and they're doing stupid things, so gotta go ahead and take care of that.
Green flag here at San Diego. That was a late restart, but it's a restart nonetheless. Dorsey does not get a good launch. Can't say I'm surprised.
Tate
And
trying
Merkel.
to find a way down. Here
Merkel
comes
gets to
Moyers,
turn
and everybody.
one.
Tate is just going to get the heck out of the way of everybody as everybody will go up through the hill. Merkel out front, Laprade in third, Moyers in between them, and Moyers now at his best spot of the afternoon, trying to complete the last of first challenge here in Coronado, right on the back end of the 24, and Merkel had to really brake aggressively to make turn three. Turn three.
Walked in behind.
Big
No,
log jam into the outside wall goes Dorsey. He and the 9 of Randall Coleman got together. We'll keep things straight for the time being.
I don't think those two tires are working, Dave.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him come back down the pit lane here this next time by. Dunn lost quite a bit of time on these drivers. You got Moyers up in here, Merkel right behind him. Coming around to 10 laps to go. A lot of fidgeting back in there as Randall Coleman currently leading a train of drivers. Mercurio looking for an avenue around Drew fast. Tate nearly gets into the back of the 9 car.
Oh, Corey's around.
Corey Stolhood
that's a
around
caution.
once again in the 45. No caution is out. We remain green,
Yeah,
or we
there's-
do have a caution.
No. No, we have a
Yes.
caution. I think Brotherly Love Part 2 Electric Boogaloo may have occurred.
Randall Coleman will lock things up in turn 12. And he's able to keep on going. It's not going to mean anything as the caution flag is out for the 3rd time tonight. And I'm trying to figure out... There we go. That's how you ban somebody. Discord is interesting.
I have to agree on that one. So,
Sorry for the holding pattern in terms of commentary, folks, as caution flag is out for the 3rd time tonight.
tomorrow's breakfast conversation at the Stall Hoods is going to be a interesting.
We'll take a look at what
There's a-
happened there between the Stallhood brothers, and I don't know. I don't think anybody came down the pit lane there, or were the pits even open that time? We might be having the
I
pits
don't
were
think
not
pits
open.
were
Okay, so they were just catching up to the pace car. So we are going to be having an additional pace lap or additional lap under caution by the looks of it. But we'll take a look and see what happened between the Stallhood brothers. Like you're talking about, that brotherly love. More turning into a brotherly shove at this point.
Yeah.
And this all got started back in here with this bottleneck as Tate Dorsey. Oh, okay. So Tate got railroaded by the 9. That's what completely
Jammed everyone up.
completely log jammed the corridor between 4 and 5. We'll go back in here. Tyler looking for a way around the 45. Bangs off the corner a little bit. We're still green. I believe it's getting into turn 6 and 7 is where things go wrong for these two.
So in turn 6 and 7, Dorsey bounces off the inside wall, causes a bit of a stack behind him for Vast and Mercurio.
Actually, it was turn 8. I can't count.
Tyler kind of missed his breaking point by
Oh.
a lot.
Quite a wide margin and got right into the 45. Well, happy Father's Day to their dad. There's his two boys are roughhousing a little bit. This has been fun. I don't care who you have. This has been a fun race. And, You know,
This is entertaining.
we talked about it earlier, you know, just how clean of a race this was to start things off. And, you know, you look back now, you know, 3 caution flags all within the last, what, 10 or so laps?
That sounds about right, because we made it a lap, what, 15 without a caution?
About. Jack Merkel is going to win stage number 2 under the caution flag. And I believe, I don't know, will we see these guys come back down the pit lane? The track position has proven, at least for now, to not as matter much as fresh tires.
I would expect Tate. I don't know how many sets everyone has left. I know the top 3 probably have have at least 3 sets left, if I'm counting
Blake
correctly.
Warren currently has 1. He's the only driver with 1 set left.
Connection lost. Error. Connected.
Tate Dorsey having issues exiting pit lane. He might have sped.
We are finally back, apologizing for our technical difficulties, and this will likely affect our ticker here tonight. You gotta love internet issues.
Bane of our existence. So, what do you
Lordy.
have missed when our broadcast producers decided to shut us out for a little bit? Dun LaPrade was one of 2 drivers who stayed out. The other one was Blake Warren. Warren is, I think, the lucky dog, considering Corey was the incident. Merkel had won the race off pit road, followed by Moyers and Coleman. The 64, I think, was caught speeding on pit road because he is letting everyone through.
So we should, theoretically, I think we might be good to go. Right now, on my end of things, for how things look, they might be fine. You know, and we've only got 8 laps to go, so we should be fine if we have to throw the manual ticker up. We have to throw the manual ticker up, but we should be fine, knock on wood. But at least we do have picture back, and that's what's important. We do know that Dun LaPrade won the race off the pit lane.
No, he didn't pit.
Oh, Dun LaPrade did not? Okay, so that happened at the worst possible time. Thank you, Internet. Thank you, Xfinity. You're not as fast as O'Reilly Auto Parts, I guess.
Blake was the only other car to stay out, but he is 4 laps down, and I believe the lucky dog.
So Dunn stayed out, correct?
Correct. Everyone else but Blake has pitted. But, I'm sorry, Blake, but you're not a factor for the win. I'm sorry.
Alrighty, so and actually, so Dun LaPrade and Jack Merkel and Joshua Moyers, apparently they did, no, I believe that's inflated.
No.
So they did, okay, so they did not make 6 pit stops. I don't know why it's saying that on my end. Hopefully that doesn't mean that this whole system is hackneyed. If it is, we might just have to go old school, just have the tab up and down. We are going to have 8 laps remaining in this race.
4. Merkel and Moyer should have pitted 4 times, if I counted correctly.
It's weird when the game crashes online, you refire it and get back into the server. It's very weird with how GNL is, and I wish that there was a way around it. But we'll figure it out. Whatever happens, happens. But we do know that we are going to be getting 8 laps remaining in this race. With Dun LaPrade on the inside, but Jack Merkel will be on drivers right here on the restart. This could be the restart for all the money here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to find out. Green flag back out in the air. 8 laps to go, and a great restart for Merkel on the inside. Dun LaPrade sends it in. He nearly spun the car. What a drive. And LaPrade out front, Merkel right behind him, and we've got a lot of cars squealing their way through turn 2.
Blake missed turn 2. Kept it off the wall, though. Randall trying to go around the outside of his teammate. Contact with Moyers. Sideways.
And that's the big one. Several cars upside down. Mercurio upside down. Another one upside down. That's Drew Fast on his lid. It's the big one on 2nd Street here between turns 3 and 4. And the chaos is back here on the menu. Tate Dorsey trying to get that 74 car in the right direction. He and Joshua Mercurio are just trying to do their best, and that is not going to work for Drew Fast. He is going to have to be teleported back to the pit lane. And the cautions, they are a-breeding. There's something in the water here in San Diego. 5th caution flag of the night.
Well, we have, what, 8 laps to go? It's no longer after you, after you, after you. It's, no, I need to make up positions. I'm getting there no matter what. And, well, half the field just went upside down. So there's your answer on how they're handling it.
We had 2 drivers upside down in that whole sequence of whatever that was. And this all started just right off of the drop of the restart.
Yeah, everyone trying to go for what they can off the start. About 4 cars, including Dunn, almost wiped in turn 1. Incredible driving by all parties involved. Dunn was about 45 degrees sideways when he was behind Merkel and ended up with the lead.
And watch this out of Dunn. He is just so sideways. Moyers clipped the wall, and that's what sets up this land rush, and especially, you know, 3 wide. You got Mercurio making it 3 wide. Tate went into the tire barriers. But it's really coming out of turn 3 is where things just completely go off the rails. You know, it all started with Randall Coleman getting into the wall and everybody just checking up. And look at that 98 car flying through the air. He's able to get back on all 4 wheels. And somehow, how many fast drivers does it take to put a driver right side up? I didn't think we'd have to ask that question, but we had it here tonight. Apparently, it takes more than 2. Goodness gracious.
So it appears Moyers hit the brakes from trying not to avoid, while trying to avoid Randall. And Mercurio and Drew just had their momentum carry them in. Nothing really anyone could have done there, other than predict the future. And as far as I'm aware, that's not a thing humans can do yet.
Not yet. We're working on it.
So just a bad chain of events to cause that. And unfortunately, Drew Fast is going to be put down and effectively be taken out of another one through no fault of his own.
Blake Warren trying to get that 12 car around the track. And he will go out of the world there for a brief moment. He'll jump back into reality.
If I'm correct, since he was not involved in that accident, I think he gets the lucky dog again. He's back 2 down.
Actually, I believe it's Corey. Actually, no, Corey was involved in that accident, so it would be Blake would get the lucky dog.
Blake, I think, getting his last set now. He blew turn 1, and I think that's where all that damage came from. Not a good day for Blake. Very good driver, just doesn't have the luck in the world. And I'm gonna be honest, the road courses are very difficult.
Warren's Wentz racing in general has not had a great day. Of course, Corbin Wentz retiring early on in the race. RJ Bishop losing 2nd gear very early on in the first handful of laps. Blake Warren having his issues. Joshua Mercurio just going upside down. He's going to keep that 98 car pointed in the right direction. Revolution Motorsports, they're the ones that are trying to get things done. Jack Merkel has dominated. He's led 18 laps on the afternoon, but it's Dunn LaPrade who has sneakily come back into the fold here. We're likely going to get this race restarted with 5 laps to go, and that'll be past the point of no return, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll wait for these guys to come back around. We'll go ahead and take a look at the upcoming broadcast schedule here tonight. Of course, this evening we had Navy Base Coronado for the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series. Of course, after the race, we'll have the interviews with the podium finishers here tonight. So they'll likely be in Dunn LaPrade, Jack Merkel, and Randall Coleman. We'll also hear from Tate Dorsey for a little bit as well. And looking at the upcoming schedule, we got Bentwood coming up this coming Wednesday evening at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where myself and Rich Roy and Kenny Compost will likely be up in a 3-man booth for that race here this upcoming Wednesday. Then we go on to the Papyrus Motorsports Park for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series on the offline side of things. We go road racing at Papyrus on Saturday, and then Tuesday on Canada Day Eve, we return to the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship side of things after a nearly 2-month hiatus. We'll have the Tim Hortons Canada Day Classic. That'll be a fun race. Then we go back onto the ovals for the Fuel Racing League for the Chicagoland Speedway. That's going to be the day after the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park race. And then on that Thursday, we'll go to the Boston International Speedway for a 12 o'clock start time next Thursday, July 2nd, part of a fun, action-packed 4th of July weekend, celebrating America's 250th birthday in the only way we know, with good old-fashioned NR2003 racing. It's nothing more American than a race on a Navy base here in Southern California. And we can't thank everybody that has come into play to make this possible. We talked about it. Tate Dorsey, as Blake Warren has got the front end removed on that 12th machine. But Tate Dorsey, everything that he has done, same thing with Randall Coleman, all these Area 23 track designs guys have done to really put this whole project together.
Things to note, splitting the strategy again. Moyers has hit the pit lane along with Stallhood. Not surprising since they were all in the spin. Drew Fast was obviously in the pit lane because he got towed. Dorsey did hit the pit lane. He is off in turn 2. Like, he missed the turn completely, looks like. And Mercurio is still in the pit lane, but that isn't surprising considering he was on his lid.
Mercurio's still just trying to get some repairs in that 98 machine, that Ford. Another rough day for Ward Wentz Racing and that organization trying to get things going. Drew Fast in the Cell Phone 74 car. We'll see him back in the NBC or the Fuel Grand National Circuit this upcoming Wednesday. And of course, Don LaPrade looking for his 2nd win of the day here on the NASRN. On one tape delayed broadcast Friday night, but since it was tape delayed to today, I guess he was NASRN wise, he's credited with the win today. And I believe he would be the first driver in NASRN history to get 2 wins in a row on the same day. It's not the first time we've had multiple broadcasts on the same day on the NASRN, mostly on the offline side of things, back when the Hillside races for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series were a doubleheader, part of the Duncan Week of Speed. This year they were discontinued to make it just a weekend show. That was this last weekend. Congratulations to the drivers of, I'm trying to remember who won those races. Joshua Moyers. He's got an issue coming out of turn 13, making it a turn 12B.
Well, that's going to hurt. I think he might be able to keep his spot.
I imagine he'll be able to keep his spot, just trying to make his way back as we don't have a whole lot of real estate to go. So everybody tries to make their way through, and Josh will regain that spot going through turn 15.
That might hurt his tires, though, which might be a bit of a problem. Especially when the driver of that 7 car has taken tires.
It'll be 5 laps to go this time around, and actually point of no return is 3 laps to go on the road courses. So they've got 2 more laps to make some funny shenanigans happen. Once again, LaPrade is the control car, but Merkel's going to have the inside through turn 1. Here we go. 5, count them, 5 laps to go at Navy Base Coronado. Merkel on the inside, LaPrade sends it on the outside lane. He'll hold on to the race lead. Merkel trying to give chase, and everybody jumps off the hill once again. Back down through the corner. Wide goes Moyers. He just keeps it off the wall. Tate Dorsey will smack it a little bit. Here comes Jack Merkel.
Much better restart for Dunn. Was ahead of Merkel.
Oh, Jack got in the wall off 3. He's fighting that 74 car, though.
Dunn also slid in 3, so both of their mistakes equaled out.
Go on board with Jack Merkel. Around through turn 5 they go. A little bit of a slide of the tires there for LaPrade, but he's able to hold on to it. Going down the corner between turns 5 and 6.
Moyers is sitting there licking his lips. Anything happens to these two, he's in the catbird seat.
Moyers in that third spot, like you said, and Merkel nearly into the inside wall. Moyers does get into the outside wall. He's going to pinball off the corners of turn 7. He might have some company to his right-hand side. That's Randall Coleman, who will say thank you very much. He'll take that spot away from his Revolution Motorsports teammate. Meanwhile, Merkel's still on the aggressive of LaPrade. He nearly gets the rear-end diffuser of that 47 Camaro. A couple of Chevrolets duking it out here. On the flight line they go. LaPrade trying to hold off a hard-charging Jack Merkel. Trying to get his first win of the segment in the 74, and around goes Randall Coleman for the third spot. Coleman around in the middle of the track, and also Corey Stolhood hard into the wall.
Corey just got his lap back into the last yellow.
Those two in the back during the slickest portion of the track. We remain green. LaPrade back into the RB chicane. Merkel trying to join in with him. Again, there's no track limits here at the Navy Base Coronado. The only track limits we've got is Josh Moyers pretty much putting an exclamation point on that. Nearly stuffing that car into the tire barrier, but the only limits that we've got is the limit of the walls and the limits of your tires. Look at the airtime Jack Merkel got. You could hear the Dukes of Hazzard theme playing. He got so much airtime off of the hill between 1 and 2, and he and Don LaPrade are driving those Camaros like they stole them.
You just gotta be careful. You need to be aggressive but controlled. Any simple mistake can put you into a wall, and as we've seen multiple times over the parts where
Tate Dorsey into the wall in turn 2. We remain green.
You can end up like Tate Dorsey in the wall. So, John LaPrade and Jack Merkel, the best in the business, gotta keep themselves level-headed and measured.
Merkel still on the counterattack, and both these drivers are abusing those good years a lot. Ooh, nearly a lock up there out of Merkel going into turn 6. Still in lockstep. Oh, he's into the wall out of turn 7. That's going to be a lot of time lost for the 24. It's exactly what you need if you're LaPrade. Big hit for Stolhood out of turn 7. That 7 car still ramrod straight and somehow Drew Fast, who was upside down. He's 1 lap down, actually, so disregard that. Merkel looking for the attack on LaPrade. Not able to grab anything there. Joshua Moyers sideways coming out of turn 9. Out of 11 they go, heading towards turn 12B. Merkel still very aggressive on the back end of LaPrade, and again, like you were talking about, Rich, Joshua Moyers in the catbird seat for these drivers. They get together. If Merkel does the same thing he did with Mercurio early in the race, I really don't think Jack has got a whole lot of grip in that Exalta 24. Yeah. He is all over the place, and LaPrade really succeeds on those older tires. Trying to stuff it in there was Jack, and he's not able to get it.
Merkel seems a lot braver on the brakes. The issue is his car just seems unstable everywhere else compared to Dunn. 3
laps to go. We're at the point of no return, so we're clean and green for the remainder of the mission. San Diego, LaPrade got sideways out of the corner. Merkel to his outside. Those two down the hill. Jack looking for the crossover out of turn 2. Here comes Merkel, the dominant car of the day, looking for potentially the race-winning pass. He's going to have the inside lane going through 3. LaPrade's not going to give it up without a fight. They're still side by side. Dunn trying to get the run off the corner, still trying to keep that ledge. Jack goes wide through the corner. Dunn trying to keep it. He's not able to keep that ledge, and Jack Merkel leads once again with 2.5 laps to go at San Diego.
Dunn needs just to sit there, just needs to pressure Merkel, which is going to be hard to do. Merkel, very calm, very cool under pressure, but again, his car looks off tail happy compared to Dunn's. So, if Dunn can keep close enough, Merkel might make a mistake. He's already made a few trying to catch him, though. Looks like in the 6-7 bit. Merkel. Oh no, Dunn just scraped the wall a little bit. So yeah, Dunn's tires are starting to fade. Remember, Dunn did not pit under the caution Merkel pitted, so his tires are a bit, about 2 or 3 laps more worn than the 24 car.
So Merkel has the advantage in the tire wear category, and that might be where things end out. That could be the deciding factor here with 2.5 laps to go, and Merkel has opened things up to about a 5-car length lead over Dunn Laprade. And if you're Dunn, you're just hoping that Jack makes a mistake, especially through this technical, slick section of the course. Joshua Moyer is nearly into the wall, going through the Pala Casino turn 12. Merkel just trying to gingerly drive his way around.
Ooh, sideways. He got real loose, and I think that's what, 15?
That's turn 15
Moyers!
Out of the chicane, and Joshua Moyer's around. Same thing with Tyler Stolhood. The 3rd and 4th place drivers, both with issues. Randall Coleman also around. Everybody having issues. 2 laps to go. It's not a full moon, guys, but these drivers certainly still racing like it is. And Laprade, he's not done yet.
Stallhood got his car pointing in the right direction. I think only lost the spot. Randall, I think, was the only driver in that entire sequence to lose the spot. A spot.
Tate Dorsey down the pit lane, pitting from the 5th position. Back up front, Merkel's lead, 0.7 of a second at the stripe. And both these guys just trying to baby it home with a lap and 3/4 to go here at San Diego. And what an afternoon it has been. What a night it has been. We've been given their flowers all night long, and it's a shame that they've had their own issues. But Randall Coleman, Tate Dorsey, everybody at Area 23 Track Designs, a massive round of applause for putting this track together over the last couple of weeks. So we can put on what has turned into a fantastic endurance showing. And have come with some of the best road racers we've got here in the Fast Racing League. We're not done yet. This race is still far from over. Joshua Moyers has dropped to 11 seconds behind these leaders. If Dunn and Jack get together, you know, again, Joshua, like we said, he's 11 seconds behind these guys. He's probably going to be about 13 seconds away from them this next time around when they take the white flag.
They're catching Blake Warren, who has a flat tire, so that might be a factor. Not Blake himself, but Merkel and Dunn having to navigate him.
And that might be the end of the afternoon for Blake Warren, who's already come down the pit lane 6 times. He is out of tires.
Merkel's also, or not Merkel, Mercurio's also in the pits for something. And he is pulling it behind the wall.
Jack widening out that lead a ton in car number 24. Perfect through turns 14 and 15. It's all going to come down to late braking here from Dunn through the chicane. Jack runs exceptionally well through the chicane. Dunn just trying to hold on. White flag in the air. One more time around Navy Base Coronado for Jack Merkel. So 20 laps today. Can Dunn Laprade have anything through them? They're over the hump for the final time. Dunn, he's just looking for any sort of tire wear that he can get, but that is really the difference between these two drivers right now. And I think if they were on equal tire wear, with how fidgety that 24 car has looked, I think if you give these guys equal amounts of rubber, Dunn Laprade certainly might have the upper hand, but right now he's just trying to labor that car home for any sort of chance. And Joshua Mercurio in his own zip code here. Around Carrier Corner for the final time. What a race it has been, especially in that opening 13-lap stint before we've got our first caution flag. It was Jack Merkel who led all but 1 lap during that stint. Dunn still driving it in deep, and this is going to be a really telling section here on this final lap. The flight line, the slick ice-like surface of the flight line. Can these two survive it?
Dunn needs to be heavy in his brakes in the RB chicane if he wants any shot at getting Merkel, I think.
Dunn losing a lot of time going around through the flight line, but Merkel trying to open up a really big gap. Dunn fidgeting all over the place. Jack still with it. He's got the grip. Dunn doesn't have a whole lot of grip. You can see that car sashaying a little bit around going through 12B.
Ooh.
It's going to come down to these last 2 chicanes. One final chance for Dunn Laprade. I don't know if he's close enough. He's about maybe 8 or 9 car lengths back of the 24. Merkel perfect through 14 and 15. It's going to come down to the Arby chicane. Are we going to see some beef later on? Merkel is through. LaPrade trying to dive it in deep. It's going to come down to one final corner, but I think he's got it. Off of turn 16, Jack Merkel in the Exalta 24 machine, your winner of the Mission San Diego. Mission complete. Mission successful for Jack Merkel. He is your winner at Naval Base Coronado.
Moyer's going to come out turn 16. He's going to claim third. Behind them, Tyler Stallhood just blew it right front. Randall Coleman's going to has just taken fourth.
Tyler Stallhood is trying to drive that 7-car around. It has not been a great day for him. Drew Fast will come ahead of everybody, but he is one lap down after being flipped on that most recent caution. And Randall Coleman will come around to finish in the 4th spot, but how about that for Jack Merkel? 21 laps led on the night.
And it worked for him.
Yeah, it did.
I'm flipping through the fastest times. Dunn LaPrade was the only driver in the 209-second bracket. Merkel was the only driver in the 210-second bracket. And the difference between their two fastest laps was a 10th. So, very good racing out of the pair of them.
It absolutely was. Merkel trundling back around with these drivers. Mercurio was out of the race, and taking a look at your top-down order. Jack Merkel wins by 1 second over Dunn LaPrade. Joshua Moyers ended up finishing in 3rd. Randall Coleman was 4th. Tyler Stallhood rounded out the top 5. Corey Stallhood, a respectable top end of the field finish for the 45. Tate Dorsey finished in 7th. Drew Fast was 8th. Joshua Mercurio was 9th. Blake Warren was 10th. RJ Bishop and Corbin wins the two drivers out of the race, 11th and 12th respectively. So Merkel still trundling around the corner. What a race we had here, Rich.
Absolutely. We had a little bit of everything. All the drama. We had the pit strategy. We had the dueling between two of the best racers of in NR, period.
You know what? I think I know he's on a sabbatical right now, but I think if we had Zach Rogers here tonight, that would have definitely made things a lot more interesting, or it would have made things absolute hell for everybody else. But Jack Merkel, he's going to burn it down on the front straightaway at Navy Base Coronado. Your winner tonight, driver of the number 24 Exalta Raptor Chevrolet. Revolution Motorsports Jack Merkel, winner of Mission San Diego. I'll burn it down right at the start-finish line, and that will do it for our regulation point of tonight. But we'll be back here in just a few moments for our post-race interviews. If we can try and get things going. There we go. Post-race interviews coming up here in just a few moments as Jack Merkel, Dunn LaPrade, Joshua Moyers, and Tate Dorsey will be the 4 drivers we'll hear from here in just a few moments. But don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back after tonight's broadcast of a fantastic race at Navy Base Coronado here for the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series' 5th race of the season. Our first ever race here for the North American Sim Racing Network at Navy Base Speedway. Here on Naval Base Coronado, we'll be back here in just a couple moments.
That was entertaining. Okay. Fair enough. Cool.
Channel switched.
What? Why me?
Yeah.
And Josh was already down there.
Oh, I feel the love. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna talk.
Mostly Tate.
And he hates you, and he doesn't hate Tate.
I feel, yeah, that's what. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Trey, for all you
User
do.
was
Tate's not
moved
allowed
out
to
of your
go.
channel.
Tate has to stay up here with me. No, I'm just kidding.
User was moved out of your channel. User was moved
was
out of
supposed to
your
settle.
channel. Channel switched.
Sounds good.
Painful.
Channel switched.
A wild and fun race at the Naval Base Coronado Street Circuit has just come to a close. Jack Merkel dominating in a dramatic fashion. It's the win here tonight at Navy Base Speedway for the first ever NR2003 online race at Naval Base Coronado. Here tonight on the North American Sim Racing Network, Trey Wright and Rich Roy bringing you the action here post-race as we'll get things situated in just a couple of moments. But Rich, your initial thoughts on the end of a very Jekyll and Hyde race, a race in three parts, where we got some great green flag racing in the first part. The second part of the race was a caution flag parade. That final 5-lap stint was some of the best endurance racing that we've seen. Your initial thoughts here before we'll get into our interviews.
Just my jaw's been on the floor since then. That was great racing. A very Merkel versus a duel between Merkel versus Dunn to cap it all off after what we initially thought was going to be a chess match turned into a straight up boxing match near the end of the round, near the end of the race.
And that's exactly what we saw, and we saw some of the best drivers and some of the best driving here at Navy Base Speedway. Was there anything that really stood out to you, or just really just an overall really good place overall?
A really good race overall. Very pleased with what we've seen. Kind of surprised that just the lack of grip. I know we talked about there's gonna be not a lot of grip, but I didn't think we'd have 4 or 5 balloon tires in the first stint.
Something about that.
Bit surprising, but in the end, everyone managed it quite well. And when does it tell me needs that bit? No. But no, it was a very fun race. Very. I know we talked about taking care of your stuff. I think that was a bit more. It wasn't as apparent as we thought it would be, as we saw in tonight, because we did see a surprisingly, as far as we're aware, only one blow gear, but a lot of blown tires.
We definitely saw a lot of blown tires. The tire wear was certainly the biggest point of contention for a lot of drivers tonight, and we'll go ahead and open the interview up here in just a few moments once we get everything squared away. But we did have 3 drivers that ended up finishing the race on the podium. And we'll go ahead and send things downstairs. And first, we'll go ahead and talk to our third-place finisher of tonight's race, driver in the number 68 Bass Pro Shops Club Revolution Motorsports Chevy Camaro. Mr. Josh Moyers, you got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
I got you loud and clear.
Well, you were certainly the third driver in this really dominant trio here tonight. That was really one of the 3 drivers that really knew how to race with these worn-out tires. But overall, coming into a brand new course like this, where barely anybody had really raced before, what were your initial expectations coming into tonight?
my initial expectations was that I had no expectations. I was not looking forward to this. I knew it was going to be a very, very tricky track, a very technical track, just with all the switchbacks, the change in grip levels going from the asphalt to the concrete, the undulations in the track made some of the braking zones and acceleration zones tough and tricky. Um, there was quite a few passing opportunities, which is awesome. Um, I started in the back, having messed up my qualifying lap, so it was nice to be able to set people up for some passes and whatnot, and just try to get into a rhythm. Um, Jack and Dunn were just in a league of their own. I I don't know, with another 5 or 6 hours of drive time, I could even hit the laps that they were hitting during the race. But we were the best of the rest tonight, so third was what I was looking to get after that first stage, and that's what we ended up grabbing. So
It definitely was, and you had to fight through a lot of adversity here tonight. Not as much as some of the other drivers, but a little bit of damage on that 68 machine. But of course, we talked about how there's not a whole lot of experience coming out of this track, but coming out of you got one race notched in your belt here after tonight. And how exciting is it to be one of the first drivers to do an online race here at this track? Of course, this has been coming down the pipeline for quite a while here from A23, and just in the NASCAR centers, just in general, how much fun this is. So, just your thoughts on being not only one of the first drivers to race, but also getting a solid podium finish.
yeah, it's awesome to be one of these select few drivers to put a show on this track. Tate and Randall and everyone else at A23, they do an amazing job getting us updated tracks, and they they never cease to amaze me with the products that they put out. And you know, the fact that Randall also runs this fast league, and we get to be the league to showcase it to everyone. It means a lot, and I'm glad that we're able to put on a show and just keep the NR community alive and running, and as up to date as we can be with it. So thanks to them again for all the work they did tonight, and helped us put on a great show.
That's all it's about at the end of the day, and keeping this community alive. That was something Rich and I were talking right at the top of the show. Just how beautiful this community is, to where, we get still content updates like this all the time, in terms of just, track updates and new tracks being added to the schedule, and it's just a thing of beauty. But Rich, you have anything for a third place finisher here tonight?
First off, congratulations. What a drive. And it was a bit tricky out there. As you mentioned, new track, fun to drive. What were your initial thoughts on it? How did it feel? How did it look? Any comments you want to make about it?
Oh yeah, it's definitely just seeing some tidbits in the weeks prior. It was awesome to see how much work they put into it, and it's still not a finalized piece, so I'm waiting to see the finished product, because it's just going to be better than it was tonight. And it was a very, like I said, a very cool track. Took me a long time to kind of get grips with it, to even put down a decent lap, and I think right at the end of practice, I put down like a 2:11 or something like that. And so I feel like, had I been able to kind of keep up with Dunn and Jack there for at least a little bit, and try to see what they were doing, maybe I could have adapted a little bit better and been up there with them. But once I got a couple seconds back from them, I was just pushing too hard in probably all the wrong areas to try to catch up to them. And I know they're near the end. I think I spun out and hit the wall, and we tried to get going again, and then I saw Tyler spun out and hit the wall in the same corner, and then I think Randall did as well, all in the same lap. So it was a Revolution Motorsports disaster there. but still glad that we got a third out of it, and get to talk to you guys, and whatnot. So got to say, great win to Jack. I mean, he was just flawless tonight. I'm sure he made some mistakes here and there, but it was never anything big, that we could capitalize on. and I think Dunn ran the fastest lap of the race.
He did.
So I still don't know how he ran a 209. That's insane. But so it seemed like Jack just could keep the tires under him just a little bit better on the end of the long runs. Um, I need to figure out how to do that on my end, because I felt like that first stint I took it pretty easy, and he was still yarding me by a couple seconds a lap there at the end of the stint. So we'll do some homework and try to rebound and get it just a little bit better. Third place is nothing to be sad about, but you're always trying to aim for the top. So we'll bat up next time. So
That's what it's all about, is trying to improve yourself, and you got to start somewhere. You got to have a benchmark somewhere, and especially at a track like this. A solid third place run, a couple battle scars here and there on the side panels. You got to have some sort of benchmark and baseline for you to set up your future setups on. But Josh, thank you once again for coming on. And before you head out, we'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors you want. If there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NESRN airwaves for our third place finisher, Mr. Joshua Moyers, the floor is yours.
thanks, Trey. Yeah, I gotta thank Randall. He puts his heart and soul in this league. Glad to see we had a pretty good turnout tonight, and hope to get some more faces down in here, and because it's a good group of guys we race with. Some very good competitors. And if you look at the winners list for, I don't think we've had a repeat winner yet this segment. So we just show up and race and build some friendships here. It's a great place to be. Gotta thank Randall and Tate again. A23. This track they put on tonight for us is awesome. I mean, you don't see many people that put effort into a 20-plus-year-old game like they do. So it's really awesome to know them and whatnot. So got thank sponsors on the car. Got Bass Pro Shop, Cincinnati, Busch Light. I mean, some good sponsors, good partners. Say hi to my wife, family. My little nephew may actually be watching, so hello to him if he is. It may be past his bedtime, to be honest. It was a bit of a late race, so so he'll probably get to watch the end of it tomorrow. But yeah, I think that's all I got. Thanks to you all for putting the broadcast on. That's the most important thing here. So I got thanks to you, Trey, and you, Rich. So yeah, fun stuff.
It was a ton of fun for us to watch out on track, and imagine it was a ton of fun for you guys to race out there on a great, fantastic road course. And we'll talk with Tate Dorsey a little bit later on during the post-race interviews. But Josh, thank you so much for coming on post-race, and we'll go ahead and let you go on out of here tonight. I know it's a little bit later than everybody else was anticipating, but a great race, and go ahead and go celebrate with your team.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You as well.
Yep.
User was moved out of your
That
channel.
was Joshua Moyers, driver of the number 68 Tracker Bass Pro Shops. Revolution Motorsports Chevy Camaro, your third place finisher here tonight, and it's time to bring in
User
our
was
second
moved
place
to your
finisher here
channel.
the evening, driver of the number 47 Lazarus Chevy Camaro, Mr. Dunlap Pride. You got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
Yep, I do.
Well, first and foremost, a belated congratulations to winning the Fuel Sportsman Series Championship in a dead heat Friday night over Apollo Hyde. But here on Sunday night, it was certainly a very back-and-forth race between you and Jack Merkel, and where it seemed like Jack had the upper hand on the tire wear, especially in that last run. First and foremost, before we really get into talking about that, coming into a track like Navy Base Speedway and Naval Base Coronado, nobody has ever run this. Everybody is on equal pegging when it comes to just trying to get things going here. And your thoughts on this race here, just overall coming into tonight?
I approve it. I would run here again. It's a very technical track and a track that wears out the tires, but that's how it was in real life too. And I love that for sure. So really awesome to be able to go to this track. Thanks to Tate Dorsey. Just really cool to be here. A track that's never been made on NR. Get our first glimpse of it and have the racing that we had. It was a very tough track, and I was up for the challenge for sure. I love challenging myself, and tonight was certainly one of those. So to be able to have a really good race on a brand new track that's an uncharted territory for everyone, and have the race that we had, it's really awesome.
Definitely was, and it was a fun race. Kind of split into three parts where you had the green flag run at the first half of the race, you had the caution parade in the second, third, and then you had that 5-lap stint at the end there where it was you and Jack really just going nose to tail and just dive bombing each other there a little bit. In that final 5-lap run when Jack got around you with 3 to go, do you think you could have done anything differently in that 5-lap run, or do you think second place, I guess especially against an accomplished road racer like Jack, do you think that was about where you think you should have got here tonight?
Nah, I'm pretty sure that he was gonna. I'm pretty sure he was gonna get a past me at some point because he had the time advantage. But you're not gonna. It doesn't mean that you're not gonna try, right? So I certainly gave him my all, and I kept up with him in those final 3 laps. There, even when I was a second behind him, and if he made a mistake, there was that kick before the final chicane where I felt like that I was really better than him. I felt like that if I was a lot closer to him, um, going through that kick, coming to the white flag, then I think I probably really would have tried something going through that chicane. But it was just really tough to be able to beat someone who has a much better time advantage than you, especially in a track like this where there was all sorts of slipping and sliding. I feel like it was a lot more. It's like they said in real life, it's like the Darlington version of a road course, and I think that's about as accurate as you can make it into be. So it was very tough to hold them off. I think if anything, I was satisfied with a second place finish, but it doesn't mean that I wasn't gonna try, and I certainly wasn't gonna make it easy for him driving away. That's for sure.
It definitely was not an easy task for him, and we'll talk with him on the other side of this other interview. But Rich, you got anything for our runner-up finisher here tonight?
First off, congratulations on your second place tonight and your other exploits from Friday. We saw you make that call to stay out on I think it was the second last caution when Merkel and Moyer did pit. What was your thought process? Was that trying to hope for a few more cautions to keep them behind, or were you just thinking that you could outrun them?
I felt like I could have outrun them, and I was hoping that a few other cars that were on the lead lap would have stayed out because I really felt like that, if I had a couple of cars behind me that stayed out, it probably would not have made a difference. I think Jack was going to be able to get to me anyway, but it was a gamble that I was willing to take because, you're not going to be able to pass. You're not going to, if the guy in front of you is even with you, you're not going to be able to just try to, um, win the race by staying behind him, right? You got to try something different. So that's what I did. I tried something different. It didn't work out, but, held out, held on to the lead for, surprisingly a long time that I thought I did. But yeah, it was just a gamble that I was willing to take. And, it did not work out, but, sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to take gambles.
And that's exactly what we saw here tonight from you guys. And unfortunately, just coming up one position short of getting 2 wins here on the NASRN today with that a really good close finish we saw earlier today with the tape-delayed broadcast of the Michigan race. And then coming here tonight, a really good battle between a couple of really good road course aces we've got here in the the fast Renegade Pro Cup Series. It's a little bit late. I'm not gonna lie, I've been up for a little bit, but Dunn will go ahead and give you the floor to thank any sponsors that you want. If there's anyone you want to shout out here on the NSRN airwaves for our second place finisher here tonight, as well as our Fuel Sportsman Series champion from earlier on today, Mr. Dunn LaPrade. You got a copy, the floor is yours.
Okay. First
It's been
and
a day.
foremost, yeah, I know that. I know that feeling. Shout out to first a special shout out to all the dads on Father's Day. I want to give a quick special shout out to my dad. Dad, I love you. Always been the best dad I could ever ask for, and I hope that all the other dads, have their sons feel the same way. So, shout out to all the dads on Father's Day. It's Pride Month, of course, so shout out to all the LGBTQ plus people. Shout out to you, Trey, and Rich up on the booth tonight. Shout out to everyone watching at home. Shout out to all the fast drivers who participated in not just in tonight's race, but in all the other races this season. Shout out to Jack on an incredible win there. I'm sure he's going to be very proud of that one, as he should be. And special shout out to Randall Coleman for the league. Special shout out to Tay Dosey on the track. What an incredible racetrack that what an incredible privilege it is to be able to go to this racetrack and for people like him to be able to make it happen for us just to even race at this track. First time on it all, it's really awesome. And shout out to Team EFR and shout out to everyone for making me a better driver.
That's all it's about here in NR 2003 online, is being able to push each other and make each other into better drivers. And you're, of course, Dunny, you're one of the drivers that has really been developing over the last year or so, especially here on the NESRN. And we can't thank you enough for coming here post-race once again to give a great interview. And we'll see you this coming Wednesday at the race at Bent Twig for Fuel Grand National. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Yes, sir. Thank you all. Have a good night.
You as well.
Thank you.
User was moved out of
That was
your
Don
channel.
LaPrade, driver of the number 47 Lazarus Chevy Camaro. Second place finisher here tonight. It's time to bring in the man of the hour for our
User was moved to
penultimate
your
interview
channel.
of the night. Driver of the number 24 Raptor Exalta Chevrolet Camaro. Mr. Jack Merkel, you got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, first and foremost, congratulations on being the first ever online winner here at the Navy Base Speedway on Naval Base Coronado. And first and foremost, just congratulations on being the first ever driver to go to victory lane here in NR 2003 offline or online. Your initial thoughts on just a dominating performance out of you here tonight?
Yeah, I thought it was a good track. I showed up thinking probably it's going to be about similar to Chicago. Learned very quickly that it was not the same kind of track at all. But got into a groove in it and felt confident in it and knew that it would come down to probably me and Dunn in the race. And had some unfortunate stuff happen, but it came back around to how it usually does, me and Dunn at the end, and thankfully I was able to walk away with the win this time.
Yeah, and things certainly will look to be in jeopardy a little bit late in the race on that final restart with about 5 laps to go. And even the restart before that, where it looked like you and Don were going to be on the same tire strategy. Then the restart comes on. You got a little fresher rubber than him. Just walk us through those final 5 laps of dueling with that 47 car for the next 15 miles, and just you guys just going at it back and forth. And how are you able to really finally get around him with 3 laps to go?
I was kind of worried because I knew from myself that I wasn't really running slower lap times until right towards the end of the fuel run, so like 8 or 9 laps. So I wasn't sure if we were going to get to that point in the run to where I would have a chance to have the better rubber to get around him. And then once we started going, I could tell he was maybe running the rears a little bit harder than I thought he was, and so I just had to stay behind him. And I knew I just had to wait on him to mess up some corner, which usually doesn't happen because Dunn usually doesn't mess him up. Just had to hope for a mess up, and got that one through turn 1 and saw him go defensive, and I was like, well, my only shot here is to try and get him, cross him over and get it to the inside of 3, and was able to just get right next to him, and then going through 4 was able to clear him, and then was able to keep him behind me for the rest of the race.
Yeah, and a really good job out of you here tonight. And then just as a race in general, you talked about how this is a really fun track to drive. But after seeing the chaos that we saw earlier today in the Cup Series and just around this whole weekend, how would you really just rate this track in general, especially just given just how quickly the turnaround was by the Area 23 track designs? Just give us at least a beta version of this track.
Yeah, watching the races and all the practices and stuff, obviously the environment was really cool where they were and all like the stuff on the outside of the track. But even then, just like the track was chaotic enough that it made it good, as we saw in the Cup race with everything that happened. SVG getting taken out, and then the race basically turned upside down from there. Nobody could tell what was going to happen at all. And I kind of feel like that was the same tonight. It was, we went in where me and Dunn were the fastest in practice qualifying, but even then, one thing get messed up, and then that first run I had 13 seconds overdone, and not a whole lot had really happened. So it didn't take a lot to get caught up and get behind in this track, and I think that's what makes it so nice is that it's so many turns, it's such a long lap that you really got to try to not make any mistakes the entire lap. And if you make a mistake, then you could lose a bunch of time, but then they can make a mistake and you can make it all back up. So it really just kind of evens out across the entire lap for sure.
It definitely does. A lot of rubber banding around this track is what Rich and I noticed. And Rich, we'll give you the floor to thank, or we'll give you the floor to ask our winner here if you got anything, any questions here for Jack.
Well, first, I'd like to thank me, myself, and I. But no. Amazing race out there. Congratulations. I know you talked a little bit on just how the track, just how it was being chaotic. Just from a driver's standpoint, how did they physically feel? Car tight in certain sections, loose certain sections, just general feel of the car throughout the weekend.
Yeah, it definitely felt on the asphalt sections. It definitely felt a little bit tighter, and it was definitely a little more tail happy on the concrete sections. But even then, it really wasn't. The tire wear wasn't. It wasn't so much tight as it was just you would just lose the rear end. So it was some of the corners, like if you were like the off-camber ones, it would get tight. But even then, it wasn't that bad. It was more so just trying to keep your rears alive and not lose them, so that you could be. And ultimately, what killed Dunn through the concrete section was he had no rear tires and he couldn't switch back and forth like I could and keep up with me. So it wasn't so much tight as it was just trying to keep the rears going, and then the whole track just trying to keep it off the walls.
It was a very technical track for a lot of people here tonight, but you were able to conquer the beast here for your first ever race here at the Navy Base Speedway and Naval Base Coronado. And you're one of the few drivers, you are the only driver here in NR 2003 online to say that not only I won at this track, I batted for 1,000, and a big congratulations to you on a well-deserved, dominating victory, leading 21 of the 30 laps scheduled. But Jack, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is your first podium with us here on the NASRN. So what we'd like to do is before we end the interview, we'd like to give whoever we're interviewing the floor as long as they want to thank anybody they want. If there's any sponsors they want to shout out here for our race winner tonight, the first ever online race winner 2003 at Naval Base Coronado, Mr. Jack Merkel. The floor is yours.
Just thanks to Raptor for being on the car tonight, and thanks to the 24 team for giving us a good car to come out here and get the win. Thanks to Tate and Randall for giving us a good track and letting us have the opportunity to race on it. Especially me, who come in kind of late, and they gave me the opportunity to race on it. And thanks to Dunn for racing me clean like always, and glad we were able to come out 1-2 again. Usually always the case on these road courses, kind of swap the positions every once in a while, but it's usually 1-2 between me and him, and just glad we were able to come out here and get a win.
That's all it's about. It's getting a win, having some fun, and making some NR 2003 history here tonight. Jack, thank you so much for coming on here post-race, and we'll go ahead and let you go celebrate with your guys after a well-deserved victory here tonight at the Naval Base Coronado. Congratulations once again.
Thank you, guys, and thanks for the broadcast.
Of course.
User left your
That was
channel.
Jack Merkel, driver of the number 24 Raptor Exalta automobile. Your winner here tonight. And before we get our final interview underway, some really good interviews and, of course, some really good racing here tonight, Rich.
Absolutely. This track, very well put together, very, very nice looking. I think I said this in the broadcast earlier, but even this is a beta version. It looks nice. It handles well. I think it physically looks better than what we saw in real life, purely because Tate and Randall put a lot of small details that go a long way, and it's very appreciative. Very pretty looking track. I cannot wait for its full release.
I can't wait for it either, and we'll bring both these gentlemen into the booth for the driver of the 9 and the 64, but also two incredible designers here for producing just a great weekend of content. Mr. Randall Coleman, Mr. Tate Dorsey, you guys got a copy here in the broadcast booth?
I got you.
Yep.
Well, this was absolutely what I feel like this is definitely what you want for a debut of a track. Tate, I know I saw you post the original lap time on your Twitter last night, but to put on an actual race, and not only an actual race, but a fun and entertaining race. What can you guys really say about just the debut for the Naval Base Coronado here for this beta version to at least let everybody, hey, it's coming soon.
I thought it was pretty good. I always like, especially with new tracks, getting like real people on it. You can race the AI a lot, but obviously they're not gonna squeeze out every bit of performance and where you can cut corners or anything like that. So it's nice to see, and like other people run lines I might not think of, and also a road course I'm not the fastest on. So I thought I had the grip pretty close to real life, and we went a bit faster than they did, but it was still slick though.
Yeah, that was definitely something that we really noticed all throughout, just how realistic it was compared to what we saw in real life, particularly when they were racing mostly on the flight line, where just the second they hit that concrete, especially on those older tires, it was where things really decided to go downhill for a lot of drivers. I know both of you guys had some issues with the tire wear department, but overall, it looks like it looked really compatible and comparable to the racing that we saw earlier this weekend. How do you guys feel like it raced in comparison to what we saw from the Cup Series side of things, and what changes do you think need to be made and tweaked to the track?
I mean, I liked it. I'm a little bit biased, obviously, but
Just a
I
little
thought it
bit.
was good. Yeah. Um, yeah, we'll make a little bit of tweaks just to obviously it's a game and you want to make it fun to actually drive on. I mean, it was fun to drive on, but race and you can push the limits a little bit without spinning out. But I thought it was pretty good. I think once I get some more buildings and stuff on the infield, it'll bring the whole thing together, and all the signage I feel like is pretty good. So the track itself, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty close to what the real thing is.
It definitely looked pretty close to what we saw earlier today, because I was watching the race and trying to get the cam files done, and just watching like all the just everything going on with the race, and just getting the track map down to the track map down to a science memorized. And Randall, I was looking at the analytics on the stream, and we had about 170 people watch this stream so far. Just how does it feel to really be the first online league to be able to run this track, and then just seeing the exposure that it's got?
You
I've
might
already
have lost
seen
them.
about 6 different people in the server already.
I mean, yeah, one of the most talked about tracks for this year, I think, was Coronado. So coming into this race, me and Tate's been talking for quite a while. We started talking about like, hey, are we going to be able to get something? And knowing that,
User in your
that Tate
channel
was
timed out.
already working on it, trying to get everything in place, at the end of the day, like I said, it's a joint effort with Tate doing it. We got a couple other guys behind the scenes that has really given us an assist. I know you've seen the aircraft carriers and the F-18s out there and stuff, and gotta give a huge shout out to John Russell. Um, that guy, he's a track maker himself. He's done a lot of tracks in the past. Uh, if y'all remember SBP and all that, so having his little insight, being able to reach out to him from time to time, get some helpful tips and tricks and whatnot. He was also one of the guys who helped tweak the LA Coliseum track that we did to get it to where it was able to be working with a pace car and all that kind of stuff, being that it was a short track. So having those kind of assets out there, to get these tracks made, to get these tracks
User was moved to your
to where they
channel.
can be raceable, and at the end of the day, that's what people want. They want to see these tracks come out. And even though we do get some people who are like really eager, wanting them like right this minute, it does take a little time. It takes time to get things a little bit better for people to enjoy it. So, um, I want to just say Tate has done an amazing job with it. We got a couple other guys. We were just actually down there before we got moved up here talking about some things on what we're going to do, some maybe new cooler things since we got like the whole layout kind of done, kind of adding maybe I'll throw it out there because I was just talking to him about it, a ramp that'll take you up onto the carrier for victory lane, maybe. You
That
never
sounds
know.
cool.
I was just talking to Tate about that. I was like, how cool would that be if, like, at the end of the race, all of a sudden there's a ramp that you can drive up to on top of the carrier, and you have two F-18s sitting beside you, and that's your victory lane. I mean, hey, Kyle Larson did a burnout up there on that carrier. So I mean, it can be done. If you can get a car up there, it can be done. So not saying that's going to happen, but it'd be kind of cool if we were able to pull that off. But I know, like you brought up about the cam files and stuff, so I don't want everybody to jump the gun yet. Tate has a lot of stuff to still kind of get done. We got a couple other guys that are going to try to help assist with some things. You know, you brought about the cam files, so we need to try to get some cam files a little bit more situated to make it a little bit better for all the different views for everybody to be able to watch and spectate and that kind of stuff with it. So there's quite a few more things that we need to get done to make sure everything's working and in order. But where we're at so far, I think it's a great thing to have. It's something for, like you said, everybody, 170 some people, I think you said.
Something
We're on there.
about that.
So, obviously you got people out there eager for this thing. They're out there ready to get their hands on it. So we're going to try to do what we can. I know we've been kind of holding off on some other tracks that we haven't been able to get released and stuff, with some working with other people trying to get stuff situated. But with Tate doing the brunt of the work and stuff, this might be one of the tracks that we can get out at a quicker time compared to the others.
It definitely was really well worth the wait. And again, you're looking at just tonight's race in general. My final question before I'll turn things over to a Rich. How do you feel like the race went tonight? I know there was a lot of tire issues and with some drivers. It was comparable to the tire wear that we saw in the Real Life Cup Series. So do you feel like any changes need to be made there, or do you feel like it's pretty good so far track wise? Just trying to change it, update it a little bit cosmetically.
So that was another thing that myself and Tate was just talking about a little bit ago too. Kind of going into this whole thing blind, building the track, kind of getting an idea of like, okay, what kind of setup will work for it. I don't know if Tate might want to elaborate on what he decided to do with it, and he went from there with it. So we what we had tonight is what we had tonight. We didn't really make too many changes on it. I think I changed the brake bias for it to try to help, and I think that might have actually caused the brakes to lock up a little bit more. But I don't know if locking them up more would have hurt it as much as what it might have looked like. It might have been a saving grace because you wouldn't have hit the wall as many times or whatnot. But I guess you also blew tires, so I don't know. But obviously the setup needs a lot of tweaking. We were talking about that. A couple things in the track I that could be adjusted to maybe make it a little bit more racy, not as slick early on in the race. So there's a lot of things that we can do with it, I think. But with what we had tonight, with what everybody was going in kind of blind. So I think it was a great race. I think it turned out to be really good. We had some wrecks there at the end, a lot of tight racing there, causing those wrecks. So I mean, if you look at the actual NASCAR races, the truck race, the Xfinity race, and all those races, you had a lot of big wrecks. So, I mean, I think we kind of mimicked it pretty well today.
Yeah, I mean, it was like we were talking about earlier on. It was kind of a race in three parts where you had some really great green flag racing in the first 13 laps. Middle stages of the race just kind of got a little bit antsy with the caution flags there. It wasn't too egregious. We didn't have a whole 21 car pileup like we saw yesterday. But that final 5 lap dash and some of the racing that we saw up at the front was just absolutely phenomenal. And again, like you said, it's not a finished product. Not coming out for a little bit here, but it's certainly on the horizon. And Rich, you got anything for our two track designers that have put in just so much hard work putting together what is, I guarantee it's going to be an absolute masterpiece once it's finally released?
First off, congrats to the pair of you. I know this is a beta version, but it looks incredible. I think I said this earlier. I didn't say this earlier in the broadcast, but I think it kind of looks better with some of the visuals than it does in real life. Just some of the stuff you guys have added in the scenery. I'm not sure how much about this you talked about when my Wi-Fi decided to be uncooperable, but just want to talk about the process so far and what you're looking for in the future, other than some of the things that you've mentioned, if you've gotten that far.
Yeah, basically just going to be adding all the buildings and the scenery, so it looks pretty. Just because I know a lot of people, when the tracks are empty, it kind of can almost be distracting when it just stretches on forever. Um, and I was planning on maybe some of the more road markings. Now that, I mean, obviously with the race, you have a lot more videos and pictures to look at. So with all the runway lines and everything, I think I could do that pretty easily. So just instead of just being concrete, it kind of gives you more of a reference point to look at, and just a bunch of little stuff like that, I'd say, just to help with reference points. And yeah, just driving around. Sometimes you get to that concrete and it's almost so bright you just kind of you get lost on your braking points or something.
Well, it's definitely a fantastic race here tonight, and we thank you guys so much for putting this all together and allowing us to broadcast it here on the NASRN. It really feels like a privilege to be able to be the first ever broadcast and the first ever network to be able to broadcast what a masterpiece this track is. You know, this has been the talk of the NASCAR community for the better part of the last year, and to be a part of the NR2003 release of this track is just to be is a really big honor for us here on the NESRN, and we thank you guys so much for allowing us to be a big part of that. Before we let you guys go, we'll give you the floor to thank some more people if you want, if there's any sponsors you want to thank, and of course, like you said, it takes an absolute village effort to really put all this together, and we'll give you guys the floor to thank you guys.
Yeah, just shout out to everyone who raced tonight. I thought it was pretty good. You know, like every race, real or fake, I feel like you get comfortable at the end and send it a little more, but it was fun. Randall for running fast, and just my wife and kids for allowing me to sneak away to the basement and race on Sunday night.
I guess I'll have to add on to that too. He brought about his wife and all, letting him sneak away. I gotta give a shout out to my girlfriend because she lets me come over here and get on the computer and race every Sunday, um, without her fussing too much at me. So give her a shout out on that. And just, shout out to Tate. Like I said, we put our heads together on this a while back, trying to see if we could get this thing going, and Tate jumped right on it. And I mean, he went to town on it, and then we start putting things together. John Russell, again, a lot of the F-18s, the carrier, getting those models sent to us, doing them for us, sending them to us, getting them put into the actual game itself. That's a big thing. Uh, Another one that I can throw out there is Action Pack Tracks. Robert Panko. Uh, I'm sure people who are watching knows who he is, but giving us permission to use some objects and stuff that he has done in the past and whatnot to help put together this track. For those who don't know, he did a couple fictional tracks back then, and he had a lot of MIPS and stuff and 3DOs and that kind of stuff. And he did a fictional uh, street course himself on an airport. So being able to have access to hangars and that kind of stuff like that, that he was able to do up, um, with giving us permission to use those things, to be able to convert them over and use them for other tracks for the future and whatnot is a big thing. So when you look at it like that, it's a big community effort. You got all these different track makers that we've reached out to and talked to, uh, getting access to, getting things that they've used in the past, tools that they've used, and all that stuff. So it's a bigger thing within the community, to have that group of people who have done stuff for us, has worked with us, helped us get things organized, and guess where we're at today. So huge shout out to all those people. And I know I'm missing a few people, and once this track gets released, there will be a whole list of everybody that does stuff. We're going to have a couple guys looking at it for like offline racing. Uh, Buddy of ours that does a lot of offline stuff, he'll look into that. We got some people who will try to work on the cam files to make them a little bit better for the views of racing and stuff. And and all that. So big joint effort, but at the end of the day, big huge shout out to Tate for jumping on this and getting it to where it's at. Without Tate, we wouldn't have this track. So um, even though he's working under the Area 23 banner with us, uh, doing this track, a lot of the credit goes to him. So can't say that enough. But at the end of the day, like Tate said, gotta give a shout out to everybody who came out here tonight and raced. I know we kind of kept it to like an invite only kind of deal, being that it's an exclusive track. But hey, at the end of the day, I'm gonna throw this out here. That's one of the privileges of racing at Fast. Fast Racing League partners with Area 23. We work with a few other leagues, Fuel, MOT. I was hoping to get Matt and those guys out here to race tonight, but they weren't able to make it. But having those other couple leagues that we can lean on and stuff and race with and have fun with as well. Like I said, it's a big joint effort. So shout out to all of them. Like I said, racing that Fast, Area 23 Designs. Most of the time, you're going to get access to a lot of new stuff. So get a chance, look us up, come over here, jump in, race some races with us. Who knows? Nobody knows what the next new track might be. Last year we did Red Bull Ring, year before LA Coliseum. So Chicago Street Course, you never know what's next.
It certainly takes a village to put all this together, and certainly just a massive group project. And like you said, you guys just do an awesome job with everything you do. And just a big another thank you and a round of applause for you guys just putting on what was an incredible race so far, or putting on an incredible race, but also just building an incredible track. And a big shout out to you guys for just putting all the time and effort into just making a track that keeps this game more modern. Rich and I were talking again. This is an almost 25-year-old game at this point, and the fact that we're still getting new content to this day, updating tracks that are still being like brand new on the course. Like again, the fact that there's the iRacing version, they'll have that, but the fact that we've got an NR2003 version coming in the pipeline, it just shows that the love that everybody has for this game is still very well alive. The culture, the community of NR2003. It's nights like this where it really makes me a little emotional to see that this game is still kicking 23, 25 years later, and the community is still very well alive. And just a big shout out to you guys, and a big thank you for everything that you have done to make tonight possible.
Yeah, thanks for putting on the broadcast. You always do a good job with it.
Thank you so much. You guys were the ones that put together the track. You guys were the ones that put together some really fun racing. And now that's 11:30 Eastern time. We'll go ahead and bring you guys loose here for the interview. But thank you guys so much, and have a good night.
You too. See you later.
Thank you. You too.
User was moved out of your channel.
That was Tate Dorsey and Randall Coleman, a couple of drivers from tonight that also happened to put together a pretty kick-ass track for an incredible race here this evening. But Rich, your final thoughts before we officially get out of Dodge. After an incredible race here tonight, a pretty long race, but incredible nonetheless, and just incredible product.
Yeah, it's a long race, but I think it was incredible. We got to see a track that's been in the works for, who knows, at least a month, whenever the track layout was finally announced. Finally get showcased. Looks very racy, very cool. I'm excited for the public release, especially with the stuff Randall and Tate were talking about. I think tonight showcased it. We had a very good race, including a duel with some of the best in the business at the end.
It was an absolute banger of a race from start to finish, from green flag to checkered flag, and after all of the dust was settled, Jack Merkel was the one that ended up going to victory lane here tonight, leading 21 of the 30 laps. Dunlop Prod ended up finishing in second. Joshua Moyers rounded out the podium in third. Randall Coleman and Tyler Stallhood rounded out the top five. Corey Stallhood, Tate Dorsey, Drew Fast, Joshua Mercurio, and Blake Warren rounded out the top 10. With RJ Bishop and Corbin Wentz, the two cars that were out of the race, 11th and 12th respectively. But that's going to do it for tonight's broadcast here on the North American Sim Racing Network. But this is going to be last time we see the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series here for a couple of weeks, as next time we'll see them will be on Sunday, July 12th at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for the regular season finale live from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Before we'll get things underway for the full race chase here for the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series, we'll be going down south to Georgia for the regular season finale coming up here in just a couple of weeks. But that will do it for tonight's broadcast. On behalf of my broadcast partner, Rich Roy, for everybody at the NAS Seren, and of course for everybody that puts together tonight, for Randall Coleman, the boss man of this league, for him and Tate Dorsey, who put together an incredible track, for everybody that raced here tonight, and of course, most importantly, the viewers at home that came out, watched this race in droves. To see that number creep up to 170 and about 200 views, it just makes my heart really melt. Just how much love this game truly has. Again, I've been part of the community officially for about maybe 10 years, but I've been watching NR2003 stuff for like the last 14, 15 years. And to be a part of tonight, really just, it's such a special moment. And it's really just a moment where you look back, and you can look back in a couple years and say, yeah, I was there. I was at ground zero right at the day one of this track, being able to showcase what's going to be a legendary track to come down into the pipeline here. But on behalf of everybody that has made tonight possible, thank you so much for tuning in. Got a lot coming down the pipeline here this week. A very busy week for us on the North American Sim Racing Network. We got Bent Twig coming up on Wednesday night. We've got more stuff coming up this weekend with a Duncan Month of Speed. But until then, on behalf of everybody that makes this stuff possible, my name has been Trey Wright, saying so long from San Diego, California. This concludes tonight's broadcast of the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series, part of the Fast Racing League, on your home for the Fast Racing League, the North American Sim Racing Network. And on behalf of everybody, and one final shout out before I forget to do it, happy Father's Day. A big shout out to my dad, Dave, for putting up with me calling these races until 11:30 at night. And on behalf of all the dads out there, a happy Father's Day, a happy Sunday night. We'll see you guys Wednesday evening for Fuel Grand National at Bent Twig here on the NAS Seren. Until then, have a good evening and enjoy your week, ladies and gentlemen.